Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes 400 laps tonight. 3 big showers during the day have changed the condition of this racetrack. You can hear the jet dryers just finishing things up as we're about to go racing here in Richmond. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip with you to call tonight's action. And Darrell, who's got a shot to run off in the early going? Remember last year, Denny Hamlin led 381 of the first 382 laps here.
That's the guy I'm going to keep my eye on, is Denny Hamlin. But I tell you, there's some other guys up there, too. I think Jeff Burton's car looked really good in practice. And Mark Martin always runs well here. So there's a number of characters. But I tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be worrying about the conditions. I'm going to be worrying about the conditions of the track, the conditions of the weather, and every now and then I'm going to worry about my own condition, because sometimes it's not good.
We worry about that.
Larry, the slogan of this place is racing perfection, and there are many people in the sport that feel that this blend of short track action and kind of super speedway layout is racing perfection.
Well, absolutely, Mike. We only have 3 short tracks left on our schedule, and this is like the perfect little racetrack. It's big enough that it contains 43 race cars, but small enough we still call it a short track. But it's fast. You enter the corner at over 150 miles per hour, and the banking is absolutely the perfect banking. It's not flat, but it's not high bank, about 14 degrees. That's the reason these guys can run side by side. But I know we always think about tempers in Bristol, but it just seems like this place, maybe it's because it's the last short track race before we go to Bristol in August, it seems like this brings out the best of everybody as far as tempers and emotions.
Is that the best or the worst?
Maybe the worst.
Or maybe both.
Yeah. Depends on how you look at it.
Keep a close eye on turn 2. That is often Calamity Corner here. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for tonight's 400-lap race. Brian Vickers, his second pole of Richmond. He is the track record holder. Jeff Gordon on the front row. There's Hamlin, the hometown hero, with Martin Truex, Jeff Burton, and Mike Bliss driving for the team that won last week. Ageless Mark Martin, rookie, along with the rookie speed there. And a look back through the rest of this field as they roll out onto the 3/4 mile here at Richmond.
Let's see if we can get a hold of our pole setter here. Brian Vickers, it's a DW. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Brian, I know you just got on the racetrack, but just from what little you've been out, how's it looking to us?
Still got a couple wet spots, mainly up around the wall. All in all, I think it looks pretty good. It's going to have a lot of grip when we go green.
Yeah, 10-4, I do believe you're right. Hey, buddy, we know you got a fast car. Can you keep it up there all night tonight and get you another win?
I sure hope so. Real proud of the Red Bull guys. They did an amazing job with the car in qualifying. And, with these new cars, there's usually not a whole lot of difference between qualifying and race trim. So hopefully that's a good sign for the rest of the evening.
All right, buddy, you need to lead some laps tonight. You've only led 5 this year. This is a good chance to get you a bunch of them in the record book. So good luck to you, and we'll be calling. Maybe we'll call you a little bit later. What do you think?
Yes, sir. We'll do our best. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Leading laps hasn't been a real big priority here, but make it a great race day tonight with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment with Budweiser, the great American lager. I mentioned leading laps because last year's winner Clint Boyer led only 13 laps. Denny Hamlin had dominated the race up to that point.
Let's take a look at FedEx understanding the race. This is the trends or the patterns over the last 8 spring races here at Richmond. It's been NASCAR on Fox. The first caution, average lap 28. In fact, 4 times in those 8 races, we've had one before lap 10. The longest green flag run, roughly around 95 laps, and that's right there at a fuel window that's 95 to 105 laps. And the last caution, roughly about 18 laps to go. 5 times in the last 8 races, we've had one in the last 10 laps.
You know what I like about this track, and short tracks in general, you can feel the speed here. You're just, the cars are, you're so close to them, and the colors and the noise and the whole thing is just really exhilarating when you're on a track like this.
Well, it's nice and close packed and noisy on pit road here at the short track. Let's talk to our reporters, beginning with Dick Berggren.
Well, Richmond is one of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s very best racetracks, Mike. 3 wins in the Nationwide Series, 3 sprint car wins here as well. He has a brand new race car tonight. Dinged it up a little bit in practice, but the crew has got it all back together again. To win, he has to pass a lot of cars. Junior starts 25th. Chris Devoda.
Well, it's no secret that the 99 has had some problems on pit road. They made some changes following Texas. Another change tonight, but this is a return to what was. Front tire carrier Jeremy Dyer is back for the first time this season. He suffered a knee injury before the season started. He is back, and he is ready. Steve?
Krista, Jimmy Johnson has won 3 of the last 4 races here at Richmond, but his success here has come through hard work. He didn't like this track that much when he first started racing here. In his 3 wins, he started 4th or better. More hard work tonight, Matt Yoakum. Jimmy Johnson starts 15th.
If you were here last night for the Nationwide Series race, sitting up in the Commonwealth Grandstand just on the other side of start-finish, and you said to your buddy, hey, that guy looks just like Denny Hamlin. It was. Denny Hamlin took the night, had an old school night, hung out with his old friends from nearby Chesterfield, Virginia, up in the stands like they used to do before he was a big Sprint Cup Series driver. Now he's just dreaming about winning a race here at Richmond International Raceway. He's finished 2nd and 3rd, pulling all the crew chiefs in the garage. They point to the 11 car as the guy they'll have to beat tonight here on the Street Quarter Mile.
This is one of NASCAR's oldest race sites. Originally the Atlantic Rural Exposition Grounds, the half-mile dirt track, played host to NASCAR's top division for 24 races. The track was paved. Track promoter Paul Sawyer paved the speedway, and they ran 40 races on the paved half-mile. It was enlarged in 1988 to its current 3/4 mile configuration. Richard Petty is the track's all-time winner with 13 victories, followed by Bobby Allison with 7, and tied at 6, David Pearson, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip. A place with a lot of history and, boy, a lot of excitement.
You know, Mike, when you look at this racetrack, this is the front straightaway of the old racetrack. That's where we used to race, and then Paul Sawyer had a vision to make this place bigger. This is about as big as he needed it to be. Here we are.
They enlarged the track so they could expand the seating and add a lot of suites, and they did a great job with it. Let's have a look at our Pepsi throwback Talladega flashback. Carl Edwards came down as Brad Keselowski held his line and sped to victory ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Ryan Newman. The fence held. It contained Edwards' race car. Minor injuries to 8 fans. Edwards, Ricky Bobby style, hopped out and ran across the line. Wasn't a great day for the Pepsi Challenger. However, this Talladega flashback brought to you by Pepsi Throwback. Give your taste buds a blast from the past. Available now for a limited time only.
And you know, Mike, that car would have never gotten up in the fence. Carl's when if the 39 hadn't have run underneath of it and lifted it up the way it did. That car was going to back in the front straightaway wall and probably shot back down the racetrack, but it was not going to go up in the fence until it got hit.
I think we had so much focus on Carl Edwards' car, the lick that Ryan Newman in that 39 car took. And you know what? He finished 3rd, and one reason he finished 3rd is that lick was so hard, the throttle was hung. He didn't get that car woed down and stopped until he got to turn 1 and 2.
Now, Brad Keselowski is not racing here this evening. James Finch's racing team is, however. Instead of a Chevrolet, they have a Dodge for the short tracks, and Mike Bliss, who led a good part of last night's race for this same race team, is aboard.
And he qualified 6th. I mean, that's a great qualifying run for this team. They haven't been qualifying that well. So does that momentum mean anything? You dadgum right it does.
I tell you what, they had a car to beat last night in the Nationwide Series race with Mike Bliss driving it to one car and broke the track bar in the back of the car. Sterling Marlin will be in the 09 car next week, and in 2 weeks under the lights Saturday night on speed at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Brad Keselowski, who qualified for the All-Star race by winning at Talladega, will be back driving the 09 car.
Now they are drying the outer groove. That's why the cars are going around single file. These laps are not counting. And as soon as things are dry, we'll turn them loose under green. I hear a duck. There he is. Here's tonight's Aflac trivia question. When was the last time we had back-to-back first-time winners in the Sprint Cup Series? Here's a hint. It happened on Fox. And it wasn't that long ago. How about 2 years ago? If I said Charlotte and Dover, would that help you?
Are you asking me and Larry? Or
No, I'm asking the folks at
Let's be
home.
talking about Casey Mears and Martin Truex Jr.
Got it.
Oh, I didn't know whether we were supposed to answer.
We
or
don't
not.
answer the ask.com questions.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Actually, it's happened several times. In 2000 and 2001, Jerry Nadeau won the last 2000 race at Atlanta. Michael Waltrip won Daytona. And in 1999, Tony Stewart won here, and Joe Nemechek won the last week at New Hampshire. But the most recent time it happened was right here on Fox in 2007. And there they are.
You know, we're sitting here looking at this shot as these cars come down the end of turn one. Look at this safer barrier out there. I think it's really fascinating, the ingenuity and what a great safety device that has been. That has really, really helped the impact of these cars into the wall.
Yeah, we were talking the other day on our program on speed about the old turn two at Richmond and just the double strand of guardrail. And one afternoon when Neil Bonnet was your teammate at Junior Johnson, and he just augured in between the two strands of guardrail and stuck his car there.
Yeah, the only way I knew it was Neil when we came around was that the TV panel on the back had Budweiser on. That's the only way I knew it was him.
Neil was okay.
He was okay.
But there have been some hard hits here, that's for sure.
You know, this is our third short track race of 2009. In the Roush Fenway, the woes at the short track seems like it has continued here. When you look at qualifying, look at the highest qualifying Roush Fenway car. Only one in the top 20, Greg Biffle at 20th. The Roush Fenway, they struggled at Martinsville, they struggled at Bristol, and it looks like right now, at least as far as qualifying, they're struggling here. But you heard Carl Edwards say in the pre-race, a lot of changes to that 99 car, a lot of unknowns when they take the green flag.
And they didn't qualify all that great at Phoenix, like you said, Larry, but look at their finishes. They got their cars right in the race, and I bet they're right tonight before it's over with.
David Reagan, 22nd. Jamie McMurray was the fastest Ford in practice. He will start 27th. And the 8's cars their Fords didn't fare very well in qualifying either. So we'll see if things turn around for the race. NASCAR has the option of starting this race under a green-yellow condition, and that means that we are still running behind the pace car, but the laps will begin to count on the scoreboard. This is done for a variety of reasons, and one of them is so that these cars don't burn up all their fuel drying the track without it counting. So the indication's being given to the field that we're going to go green-yellow here.
Yeah, you saw in our race analysis that the fuel window here for Sunoco race fuel is about 95 to 105 laps. A good rule of thumb here under caution is maybe 3 to 1, 3 cautions to 1 green flag lap.
And when this happens, the first thing I think about is 1979. Because this is the way we started the Daytona 500 in 1979. We ran about, I don't know, 50 miles with the green and the yellow out before we finally got to racing. And of course, we all know what happened after that. Got a little rowdy down in turn 3.
On the last lap, sure it did. The Allison brothers and Cale Yarborough. Well, actually, it was just Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough for the win. And you heard in pre-race that Kyle Busch is trying to do something tonight that only Cale Yarborough has done, and that is win a Sprint Cup race on his birthday. Cale did it not once but twice. So the green and yellow flags are in the air, and laps will begin to count. The pace picks up, and we should have a dry track shortly. The jet dryers are still working a couple of areas of pit road, and the bottom groove and apron coming past the start-finish line.
And just because I figure Cale is listening or watching, that would mean you only tie Cale. You do not break his record.
Well, and actually, Darrell, you don't, because if you win once on your birthday, you still haven't tied his record.
You got to do it twice.
He did it at Atlanta and North Wilkesboro in different years.
So, Cale, I'm watching out for you, buddy. It's not like it was back in the 80s. I'm watching out for you now.
You bet. Hey, attention all you Digger fans, you can now get Digger on your computer and get free Digger videos, wallpaper, games, and more. Visit digger.ask.com.
Now, since this race has officially started, Darrell pointed out to Brian Vickers how many laps he's led so far. Well, this will add to his total. He now will have 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
Last year, though, you know, we mentioned Denny Hamlin leading 381 of the first 382, not winning the race. In the fall, similar situation, David Rudiman led the most laps in the fall. He led 104. Jimmy Johnson won the race. He just led 32 laps.
And I think a lot of that spins back to the FedEx trends of the race, understanding the race. We normally always have that late race caution that just changes the complexity of the race, I think.
They had one last night in the nationwide race.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Busch was able to hang on and beat Carl Edwards.
Well, once you have a caution, you know, with 25 or 30 to go, you can bet you there's going to be a couple more. Because you get all the lap cars and everybody restarting and trying to get laps back and trying to get the lucky dog and all that stuff, and it gets pretty hectic. I'm liking the way the track looks, Mike.
We're pretty close to a start here. So here's a question from Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. While you're at Ask.com, enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win daily prizes and a trip to Talladega from NASCAR's official search engine. Larry, right now, are you thinking of this as a 400-lap race? Or if you're a crew chief, are you trying to run this to halfway, which would be an official race, and then refigure your strategy?
Well, I think you've got to do it that way, Mike, especially since this is a short track. Yeah, I have someone that's going to be monitoring the weather, especially as we get maybe past about lap 150, which 200 would be halfway. And I think once we get from lap 150 to 200, depending on what the weather's telling me and the radar's telling me, then I may have to recalculate this whole situation.
It's not like that back in the old days. We didn't have lights. So if it rained, they usually just called the race off and you went home.
All right. 2 to go is the indication. We have completed 4 official laps, and Brian Vickers will get credit for leading those. And in 2 laps, we should send them under green. Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond. Those are the 3 short tracks that remain on the Sprint Cup Series today, along with 2 road courses and a lot of super speedway ovals. But these short tracks are so special.
I like what Michael does on his dash right there, Larry, and I think it's something that a lot of drivers ought to pay attention to. That's his pit road. That's where he is in the pits. And those are the cars that he will see as he comes to his pit box. And that tells him where his pit box is.
You know, we sat down and talked to Jamie McMurray yesterday, and he was telling us there's a website that you can go to that will show the pit map after the teams pick it, and he will study that pit map before the race, the night before the race, just to get an idea of the cars that's around him. And he said best he can remember, Jamie in the 26 car, he's never missed his pits.
Yeah, I never did think about, I just thought about where am I on pit road? Am I near the start finish? I always found something to get my reference off of rather than looking for a particular box.
But today, with this pit road speed limit, and especially coming down pit road under caution, you need to know if the fellow who's ahead of you is going to turn in before you or after you, and what to expect when you get near your pit box.
Yeah, I can understand maybe getting squeezed or maybe, you know, getting in trouble, getting in somebody's way or somebody getting in your way. But just thinking about Dale Jr., be honest with you, how you can just drive by your pit, that just seems almost impossible.
Here's the best side of the evening. No, not Digger, the pace car. The lights are out on the pace car.
Uh-oh.
We're going green this time.
Well, DW, it's Saturday night, and Saturday night's all right for fighting. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
And the green's in there. That's the green's out here, and then the hold it. Boy, all right, here we go. Boogity, boogity, boogity. And Lord, please don't let it rain anymore.
Jeff Gordon with a full head of steam into turn 3 on the outside.
Well, I tell you, the car that drove it down into turn 3 was that one car of Martin Truex Jr.
I have no idea who led that first lap. It was that close. Scoring says Gordon.
Boy, I tell you, this is tough. You have to be so careful right here. Dirty track. Well, track's been, you know, wet. They dried it. Should be a lot of grip in it, but you got to be careful running up under somebody right now. Man, we're 3 wide off turn 4. Whoa, hold on to her, boys.
Clint Boyer, last fall's winner in the 33, stuck in the middle. Scott Speed outside, David Stremme on the bottom, and Speed wisely gives way.
Ran out of the racetrack. He had to give way.
Yeah, 12 wheels weren't going to corner better than 4 out there.
Not good.
Denny Hamlin fighting Gordon for second. Trouble, car on the wall, hard in turn 3. And it's Dave Blaney.
Dave Blaney in a 66 car. Caution is out.
That's the last one, bud. Come on down when you can.
See what happened here.
Take it to the truck.
Blaney started 26th.
This is Blaney right here, heading down in the corner. Oh, he just gets loose, guys. He got in there a little high. You can see it's kind of dirty up there. You saw a little dust flying up as the car lost control and went into the wall.
Dave Blaney brings out the caution in Richmond. Ready for the restart. John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, Casey Mears all stopped for tires. We've restarted. Here comes Kyle Busch on the outside from the middle of the pack, and passing on the outside between the flag and the stand. He gets 2 spots. Wow.
He's got that restart thing down pat. He did that last night in the nationwide race, took the lead and checked out.
Alongside David Stremme now for 12th place, 11th place.
See right there what I was talking about, entering turn 1 at almost 150 miles per hour into that 14 degrees of banking.
Boy, Kyle likes that outside. Look at this.
Look at this restart.
He just timed it perfectly, and of course that's his teammate right in front of him and gave him a little extra room there, I do believe.
And that's perfectly legal.
Oh,
when the green flag is displayed on a restart, you can pass to the right before the start-finish line.
Now also right on the restart, Denny Hamlin went after Jeff Gordon. That didn't pay off too well, and now Hamlin is backing up from the 2 leaders just a bit. He's about to fall into the clutches of Mark Martin and Martin Truex.
I'm a little bit like Darrell. I think Mark Martin, that 5 car, ran the Nationwide Series race last night. I think he's going to be a contender tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Vickers out in front after 16 laps.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing is sponsored by Ask.com. Where do NASCAR fans get answers? Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. By Sprint, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race. By the all-new 09 F-150. It's not just a new truck, it's a new F-150. And by Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together.
Kyle Busch, birthday boy, flying up through the field. He's passed Mike Bliss, past Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, and now he's working on the top 6.
But that's it. But see, look at the difference of him and everybody else. What's the rest of them doing? All fighting for the bottom, fighting for the bottom. Got to be on the bottom. Not him. He goes where they're not.
He's definitely making that second groove work.
And it will right now. I mean, the track's pretty clean other than way up high. So there's not all that dirty debris and stuff on the track yet. And what are they saying down there in the pit, Steve?
DW Steve Addington, his crew chief, said earlier today, I feel really good about the speed of this race car on the short run. He said Kyle likes the balance of this car, but Addington added he was a little concerned on a longer run if that car would retain its speed.
He started 14th. He is up to 7th place.
Yep, I'll take a short run car tonight. It might just pay off.
But this race seems like it always, especially in the middle portion, it kind of settles down and we get that long green run.
There are the 2 leaders, Vickers and Gordon. You see the gap they have put on Denny Hamlin as we cross through 20 laps. And Mark Martin stalking Hamlin. Matt?
Mark Martin just told Alan Gustin he's going to try to take it easy as he can on the right rear so that he doesn't burn it up. But under the caution, he said the car was really good so far. And DW and Larry Mack touched on it. Just knowing what they did is we got a pass for the lead up front. Gordon around the 83. He learned so much running the nationwide race about the tendency and the trends that we'll see tonight go on here in the Cup race.
That's definitely one positive in running that Nationwide Series race, because they run the same tire package that the Sprint Cup Series cars are running tonight.
David Ruderman dropping back just a bit. Remember, he led 140 laps here last fall in the 00. Ryan Newman on the inside.
Yeah, he did. David led 100 and some laps here last year, but his crew chief is the crew chief from last year, is the crew chief on the 83 car this year, Ryan Pemberton, and that's why I think Ryan is running why Brian's running as good as he is.
Tell you, a car on the move is that car right beside David Ruderman, Clint Boyer in the 33 car. Talked about him earlier. Won this race last year, driving the 07 car, driving with this new team, sitting 8th in the points. He's had a couple of bobbles here lately, but pretty solid for a brand new race team.
Boyer started 12th, running 10th, challenging for 9th place.
Tell you a car they're probably going to have to contend with before this night's out. He's already moving up as Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. He's won 3 of the last 4 races here, but it's pretty much been feast or famine. He only has like 4 top 10 finishes. 3 of those they've been wins.
And right with him is the Blue Deuce of Kurt Busch, and Busch also intends on being a factor here. Let's go back up front where Jeff Gordon has opened up 7/10 of a second on Brian Vickers. Steve?
Mike, the early report from Jeff Gordon, even though he's in the lead, is that he is loose off of turn 4. His crew chief, Steve Letarte, said, take it easy, be patient. This track is going to change, Dick.
Brian Vickers started on the pole. He has 3 times said in the last few laps that the car is tight in the center of the turns as he's about to lose another spot.
I think the guy he just lost the spot to is the guy. Remember in practice yesterday, that 11 car ran a lot of long runs. And that's where about now is when that's really going to start paying off. We've got 28 laps in the books, and that 11 car is coming to the front.
Mark Martin makes the pass for 3rd, so it's Gordon, Hamlin, Martin, and Vickers after 28 laps. .35 laps complete in Richmond. Jeff Gordon in command. Denny Hamlin is 1.2 seconds back. Mark Martin 7/10 back of Hamlin. Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. There's 2 of those Fords, Larry, working their way to the front. They've each gained 10 positions.
Slowly but surely.
I'll tell you what, though, that 24 car this year, unlike years past, last 2 or 3, that thing just keeps, it gets better and better as the race goes on, unlike in years past where it's sort of fallen off at the start of races.
Jeff Burton battles Kurt Busch, and Busch moves up to 8th.
You know, back to Jeff Gordon, Darrell, you know, Goodyear, they've changed the left side tire about everywhere we've been. They've given the left side tire more grip. And that was one of the big complaints Jeff has had the last couple of years. I can't feel my left side tires. I can't feel my left front. I think this tire change has fallen right into his lap.
Something has. You know, he's been complaining about his back quite a bit, and I've suggested to him spinal decompression. I did that. I had a disc that was a little bit bulging, and I did that, and it really helped me. So I told him, I said, come over to Franklin, Tennessee, and I'll take you over to see my doctor. Fix you up.
You know, it's not going to be too many laps. He's going to catch the back of the field, so he'll have to start dealing with some lap traffic.
Gordon is pulling away from Hamlin at about 0.5 of a second per lap right now. Mark Martin stable at 3rd. Brian Vickers, the pole sitter, 4th. Martin Truex 5th. Kyle Busch has come from 14th up to 6th. 4.2 seconds off the lead and closing on Truex right now. Here they come off the corner with Busch to the inside, and Truex, one of those drivers that's worked the lane way up high on the racetrack.
I'm just convinced, though, Larry, I know talking to former teammates of Kyle Busch's, one of the things they are fascinated by when they look at his lap tracker and how he gets around a racetrack when they have the data in the car, he uses no brakes.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious if you stand up here and watch him enter a corner, he enters a corner much faster than anyone else. Of course, there are other guys out there will agree that he hardly ever uses any brakes, but
Kyle Busch on the bottom, Martin Truex up top. Jeff Gordon is your leader. We want to welcome you, those of you who've been watching Major League Baseball and the Atlanta Braves here on Fox. We started this race under caution. Brian Vickers, the pole sitter, led the first 6 laps. Jeff Gordon led 1. Vickers back out front for 15, and now Gordon has led the last 21 laps. 1 caution. The 66 of Dave Blaney spinning up into the fence between turns 3 and 4.
Now, I've been watching this battle here. Kevin Harvick in the 29. He's been working up the racetrack as you see it right here. It's like his car, it's starting to go away here at lap 44, and he's about to lose a position to the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. But just remember, a major change at Richard Childress Racing coming into this race. Richard just felt like the performance of Kevin Harvick, the 29, Casey Mears, the 07, was not where it should be. He basically swapped the entire race teams. The only thing that stayed in place was the drivers, the spotter, and the sponsor. Everybody, crew chief, engineers, guys in the shop and at the racetrack, were swapped between the two teams.
If you're going to do something like that, now's the time to do it. Still got a lot of racing to go this year.
How about Kurt Busch? His Roger Penske's Dodge has come from 17th to 6th.
Pretty impressive.
Very. Meanwhile, his younger brother Kyle is one spot further up the board from 14th position. We'd like to thank our friends at Speed TV for helping us with NASCAR coverage from Richmond during our long-running baseball game on Fox. Viewers on Speed can now stay tuned for the Toyota Pro Celebrity Race from Long Beach. We'll be right back with NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Jeff Gordon continues to lead at 54 laps, half a second over Denny Hamlin. You're watching Casey Kane there, and side by side, Kurt Busch going after Brian Vickers for 4th.
That old Blue Deuce, she is picking them up and laying them down.
Yeah, he is.
P4 right there, man. You're wearing them out. Keep it up.
And here's Scott Riggs coming pit side in the Tommy Baldwin Toyota. And behind the wall, Jeff Gordon lapping Jeremy Mayfield. Right now 35 cars on the lead lap. Steve.
Like the update from Jeff Gordon, he's still a little bit loose off of turn 4, and now he has picked up a tight condition in the middle of the corners.
And that's the big deal here. I mean, getting the car to turn and rotate right through the middle, but yet, and Darrell, you talked about it yesterday, trying to get 850 horsepower to hook up to those rear tires.
One thing you got to do is keep your foot off the brake. If you're riding your car down with the brake and we see those rotors glowing red all the way to the center of the corner, that means you got a lot of brake. You got to get your foot off that brake if you want it to turn.
Well, then here's tonight's Napa Adaptive One Brakes Richmond Breakdown.
Into it kind of light getting into turn 1, because if you overstep it, then your car just gets loose in.
And then the whole goal is to get the car slowed down early enough that you can get off the brake and let it roll through the center. If you don't, and you stay on the brakes through the center of the corner, you're just going to continue to build brake heat and have problems.
Getting into turn 3, it's easy to lock up the left front tire. It seems like you really just want to pound the brakes as hard as you can right away, then get off the brake pedal as you're setting down into the corner. So again, it pays to get off the brake pedal soon, but it's always tough at Richmond because you're trying to dive in those corners deep and gain that speed.
Richmond Breakdown brought to you by Napa Adaptive One brake pads. Check out adaptiveone.com for big savings during the month of May.
Well, the more brake that you use, it heats that right front tire up, heats both front tires up, and that just makes the air pressure go up, and that will in turn will make the car where it doesn't want to turn because you've gained spring rate in the front of the car.
And the brakes on these cars are so massive. I mean, these brakes are huge.
When we came back from break, Jeff Gordon was about 6-7 tenths up on Denny Hamlin. He has doubled that gap on the second place car now.
Jeff is really getting through traffic nicely. I'm noticing that it's the thing about a driver like Jeff Gordon. When you look in your mirror and you see Jeff Gordon behind you, you give him some room because you know he's fast.
You know, a guy that had a great run at Talladega last week, Scott Speed, in the 82 car, came in here and qualified 8th, one of our go-homers. I was a little afraid that he had a fast race car, but he maybe didn't have a good race car for the race. He's already been lapped, and now he's back in the 38th position. Scott just trying to log laps, making his first start here at Richmond tonight.
Another driver who is not off pace, but certainly off where he started, is Casey Kane, who started 18th and just dropped from 32nd to 34th.
Yeah, and he had a little trouble here on the front straightaway. I don't know if he made contact with the wall or not. It looked like he did. He was racing, I think, with Sam Hornish, I believe. There's Sam down on the inside. Let's see if they get together up here on the straightaway. Yeah, see, they made contact. I don't know if he hit the wall or not, but I know it. Ever since then, he's been going backwards.
Well, I know two things he's been complaining about. We got a report from the pits. His car will not turn, and is also his brake pedal. He's got a vibration in his brake when he gets on the brake pedal.
Bobby Labonte coming up to the back bumper of Kane, and right behind Labonte, the leader, Jeff Gordon.
Well, they're gonna have to pull something out of the hat here to stay ahead of Jeff Gordon, because he is just past him when he catches them.
You know, Casey Kane was in the top 12 in the points going into Talladega, got caught up in that wreck, knocked out of the top 12, and right now he's on the verge of going a lap down, because you see the leader just bearing down on him.
And it's not, I don't remember what your track facts were, but it's not unusual for this sucker to go green for a long time.
An average green run here is somewhere around 95 to 100 laps, which is right out of fuel run, and this is the time of the race we'll normally get those long green runs.
Now the starter is working the passing flag on both Labonte and Kane. They are side by side, the leader right behind them, but it's not as if you can just get out of the way. That battle's going to have to resolve itself soon, because Jeff Gordon's lead is disappearing. Hamlin is coming.
Now, Mike, real quickly on brake problems, one of the things you can do, as we've said in the past, you got a knob up on the dash up there that you can take front brake off and put some more pressure to the rear. Let's see if we can catch Casey. I think he's complaining about his brakes. There you go. He's cranking a little rear brake in the thing, trying to get a little heat off those front brakes.
Jeff Gordon's going to force the issue here. He gets under Kane. Labonte gives Gordon the bottom. And the leader's going to be able to move past both of them. But look, Denny Hamlin, that side-by-side battle in front of Gordon has taken his entire lead away.
Well, they better not mess around too long, 24 or the 11, because there's a blue car that is on the move.
Yeah, because he just drove by Mark Martin in that 5 car. That's Kurt Busch in the 2.
That 2 is hooked up right now, boys. She is going.
You know, if there has been a team that turned things around from 2008 to 2009, Kurt Busch. At this point last year, he was 20th in the points. He had that second place finish in the Daytona 500. That was the only top 10 finish that he had. And you look already this year, he has the win in Atlanta, 3 top 5, 6 top 10s, and he's basically completed every single lap of competition this year except for one.
David Gilliland has gone to the garage, joining Scott Riggs and Dave Blaney. Jeff Gordon out in front for 48 of the 71 laps so far.
I like the way this one's looking. More NASCAR on Fox coming up.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by AT&T, Your World Delivery. By Claritin Allergy Products. Live Claritin Clear. By Warner Brothers Pictures Terminator Salvation. Thursday, May 21st, we fight back. And by Aflac, we've got you under our wing.
80 laps complete next time by here in Richmond. The 51 laps that Jeff Gordon has led are but a memory. Denny Hamlin has driven out front, and Kurt Busch has also passed Gordon for second place. Here's the pass for the lead.
And that's what we saw this 11 car do all during practice. It was so smooth and right around that yellow line. I couldn't believe how he could just ride that yellow line all the way through the corner.
He never moves off the bottom of the racetrack.
Man, that thing would just eat that yellow line up. Those left side tires are sticking to that yellow line. This cat here ain't far behind him, I can tell you that.
Pole sitter Brian Vickers currently in 12th. Teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, 1st and 6th. There are Toyota top performers of the race at this point, with Marcus Ambrose 16th, David Rudiman 17th, and Joey Logano 20th.
Tell you what, this cat right here, he's putting some good cars a lap down. He just went around Greg Biffle to put him a lap down, and there's some good race cars right ahead of him.
But Kurt Busch is closing fast, Matt.
Mike, back at Phoenix, Kurt Busch had one of the best cars all night, just not the finish that he wanted. They brought that car here to Richmond. 130-lap run in final practice, and Kurt said, we really have something for Saturday night. And he just came on the radio a few laps ago and said the car is a little free on entry, a little free on exit, but he really likes it. No change at this juncture on their first scheduled stop, which is about another 15 to 17 laps.
As long as that thing's just a little free and it's turning good, I don't know that I'd get too aggressive. This is a battle for ninth right here between Tony Stewart and the 14 and Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car.
Yeah, when you're a little free in, you just back the corner up a little bit. Back off a little early and let it roll down in there. Little free off, just work the throttle a little bit. You'll be okay.
9th and 10th, Stewart and Truex. There's Kevin Harvick 11th. And the number 29, the Shell Pennzoil car.
He's kind of just settled in right there, just outside the top 10 right now. He's about 11 seconds, which is about a half a lap behind leaders Denny Hamlin. And, you know, I talked about the Roush Fenway cars. The car right behind Kevin Harvick seems to be the biggest hope, at least for right now, that the Roush Fenway Groups has. David Reagan in the 6 car. David started 22nd. He's moved up to the top 12 in 12.
New colors on what tonight is the UPS Freight Ford. For Reagan, kind of running in a pocket all by himself. Nobody directly ahead, nobody challenging from behind.
Pretty paint job. I like that.
There's the Prilosec Chevy, Jeff Burton. He's dropped back a bit, but that never worries me about Burton. When he starts up front, expect him to be a contender, but don't expect him to run out front all night long. Wait till it counts. Marcus Ambrose, the Aussie, running on the inside. Krista?
Mike, the Tasmanian Devil is on the move, but they are not surprised. Even though he has never raced a cup race here, Marcus Ambrose has been very good this year on the short tracks. They have actually been the team's bread and butter. I guess you would say it's the pork and beans, since he has Bush's best baked beans on the car. They just told him, who's the man? Marcus, you are.
Thanks, Krista. Elliott Sadler made a pit stop. They had to push his car to get it restarted. More of the Richard Petty Motorsports cars in. Reed Sorensen getting 4 tires right now, and A.J. Allmendinger on the way into his pit now.
Well, those are all Richard Petty Motorsports cars, and honestly, with the number of laps we ran before we took the green flag, I'm not really surprised to see these cars on pit road. It seems like the Dodges maybe are a little off on fuel mileage versus some of the other makes.
Plus, I think that I know Elliott had just gone a lap down, so, you know, you can't stay out there on those old tires. Come in, get tires, and maybe something will happen. Got to do something.
Reed Sorensen back in the battle, as is Allmendinger.
This is one of those places where fresh tires will pick you up a lot, but if you make a green flag pit stop and there's still guys out there and the caution comes out, you're going to be about 2 laps down.
2 laps down, you got it. Yeah, that's a nightmare right there.
But we're definitely seeing more and more green flag pit stops. Here comes Robbie Gordon in the 7, Mike Bliss in the 09.
Joey Logano started 13th right now, running 21st, and in the Home Depot rookie file, Joey raced in Denny Hamlin's short track showdown at Southside Speedway Thursday evening.
This is awesome, dude. For Denny to get all those guys out here, all the Cup guys out here, and go race and to raise money for the Denny Hamlin Foundation. That's a really big deal, and it's cool he gets to do this and come to his old hometown, you know, short track, and get to race old late models he used to race against. So that's really neat for him. And yeah, we're just all out here to have fun and raise money for a good cause.
The Dodges have been in. Now it's the Ford's turn. Greg Biffle and Bobby Labonte and Matt Kenseth getting service.
But Mike, I think the biggest thing I'm seeing here maybe doesn't have a lot to do with make as much as the fact of cars that just got lapped or were about to get lapped. What they're hoping is to take advantage of these fresh tires. The leader stays out there for a while and we get a caution, and then they've made up that ground.
Here comes a 31 car on pit road. Jeff Burton.
Steve Burton had faded back, well, quite a bit, and here he is on pit road.
Mike, the issue for the 31 at Jeff Burton is he said he has no rear grip whatsoever. He is very loose and really needs help. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment to hook Jeff Burton up to this racetrack.
Joe Nemechek is in, along with Kevin Harvick, Jeremy Mayfield, Sam Hornish, and Carl Edwards. Edwards had come to 20th place from 37th before pitting. Matt?
And Harvick is in. His biggest complaint was just trying to get the car not so tight to the center of the corner. Now Gil Martin, his new crew chief this week, calling for an air pressure change. Going to go down, air pressure on the right side. Service complete. He's away, Krista.
Carl Edwards had been really good into and off the corners. His car was starting to get tight in the center and free off. They came in to make their stop just now. Carl Edwards' team taking 4 tires.
Denny Hamlin is in. The Chesterfield native is on pit road. Dick Berggren.
His car has been a little bit free off, Mike, tight in the center. Other than that, the car has behaved pretty well. This is not the same car that led all those laps in the spring. Crew chief Mike Ford said that car's a year old. It's outdated, obsolete.
The Busch brothers are in. Kyle and Kurt, who assumed the lead.
83 car just missed pit road. He didn't. He missed the entrance to pit road.
Brian Vickers, our pole
Vickers,
sitter.
he's having to come back around and come in again.
Matt.
Kurt Busch is in still, not calling for any changes on the blue deuce. Like the way it was. A tick on the free side. They're good.
Stremme, McMurray are on pit road. So is Reagan. Both the Red Bull cars, Vickers and Speed. Mark Martin's in. John Andretti and Tony Stewart in the pit lane.
This has handed the lead back to Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Steve Letarte has not brought him in, but another Hendrick car is in, Matt.
Track bar, Larry Mack, already adjustment completed on the 5 car. Mark Martin began losing the center of the corner at about lap 30 to Steve.
Jeff Gordon dropping on the racetrack, Matt. He says, I have 0 drive off the corner, and I'm really tight in turns 3 and 4. Steve Letarte says, we're going to get you some wedge, and we're going to get you some air pressure to take care of you.
Casey Mears and Jimmy Johnson in. Ryan Newman's the new leader.
If you think back to Phoenix, and that's where we ran this tire last, that was the biggest complaint we had all night long for most of the guys. No forward bite, no grip up off. These tires seem to turn good, but they don't seem to have the forward bite that the guys would like to have.
4 tires and what looked like a bit of a long stop for Jimmy Johnson. Now Newman's in, Matt.
Mike, Tony Gibson going to try to fix the loose on entry and tighten the center with a wedge and air pressure change for Ryan Newman. Stop's done. We're good to go.
Everyone has now been on pit road, and we cycle back to Denny Hamlin in the lead. Kurt Busch in second. Mark Martin, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman.
I think that little bit of lead he has had a lot to do with he came to pit road before Kurt Busch and got advantage of the fresh tires.
100 of 400 laps complete in Richmond.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco, it's what's inside. By Claritin Allergy Products. Live Claritin Clear. And by McDonald's.
109 laps complete. Denny Hamlin the leader, 2 seconds up on Kurt Busch. In the garage right now, Joe Nemechek has joined Tony Raines, Scott Riggs, and Dave Blaney. David Gilliland spent 17 laps in the garage, but he is back in the race.
Yeah, the 2 fastest car right now are definitely Hamlin, and then Mark's not far behind. He and Kurt Busch are running about the same speed. Mark Martin and Kurt Busch.
You know, guys, we had about a 10-lap window that we had all of those green flag pit stops. And the guy, to me, that made the most ground up, he pitted right in the middle of those 10 laps, was Matt Kenseth. Now, what we're going to show you is green flag pit times, which is the 2 complete laps, including the stop. Start-finish line, down pit road, back to start-finish line. Matt Kenseth, he was not even in the top 20 when these green flag pit stops started. When it was all said and done, he's sitting there in the top 15 battling David Ruderman right now for the 15th spot. So what happened on pit road on green flag pit stops really paid off for this 17 car.
And Larry, that's great information, but it doesn't come as a very big surprise.
No, it does not.
Because those cats, I mean, how many races has he and his team done that time after time?
3rd place, Kyle Busch drives right on past Mark Martin. But I love that statistic because it not only shows how fast the pit crew is, but how fast the driver is getting off the track onto pit road, into his box, back into the pit lane, and out into competition again.
The whole package, the whole 2 laps.
Steve, Kyle Busch is looking a lot like the Kyle Busch of last night when he ended up in victory lane.
Yes, he is, Mike. You know, he's a great driver, but he gives great feedback to his crew. He said Let's work on that. Let's fix that.
And I know the fans that listen to us all the time, they know, but when whatever the first word out of his mouth
Trouble,
is,
Darrell, front straightaway. Jeremy Mayfield has spun, something broken under the rear of that car, because the right sides are on the ground.
Boy, they are.
Well, you want to know who was breathing?
Look at the right side. He hit the wall pretty good, Larry.
A strong sigh of relief. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was just about to get lapped.
See what happened here on
Keep up on the right side before we go to.
Watch that silver 41 coming into view in the outside lane.
Popped that wall pretty hard.
Makes a little contact there, but I think there must be more to this story. Then here he is on the front straightaway. So he did some damage as he rubbed the wall down the back there. Then he spun out, and that's what blew out the right side tires.
Yep, there they go, down on the rim. So we're under caution. Officially, this is the third caution of the night. We ran the first 6 laps under a green-yellow condition, drying the track out. Pit road's open. Here they come, led by Hamlin. Matt?
And Kurt Busch felt like this run, the car was a little bit freer on entry than it was the first run. Enters pit road in the second position. Pat Tryson will fix it with a slight air pressure change. Steve.
4 tires for Kyle Busch in the 18, Matt. 4 tires, no other changes to the 18, Dick.
And Denny Hamlin is going to take 4 tires and a very minor chassis adjustment. And he has had the good fortune of Joe Nemechek, who had been pitting in front of him, dropping out in the 83. Vickers way behind, so he's got nobody in front of him when he leaves pit road.
I was watching Clint Boyer, the 33 car, Ryan Newman. They went with 2 tires, and we hear that Jimmy Johnson has a pit road speeding penalty.
And looks like somebody else is going to pick up a penalty as well. Welcome back to Richmond with Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds. I'm Mike Joy. We're finishing up the 3rd caution of the night and getting ready to restart. Jimmy Johnson said he was confused where the commitment line was in turn number 3. That's why he got nabbed for speeding on pit road. The loose tire belonged to David Rudiman, so he is back at the tail end of the longest line along with Johnson with those penalties under caution. And Juan Paulo Montoya is the free pass recipient. He's back on the lead lap as we're ready for our Clareton Clear to Drive restart. Live Clareton Clear, indoors and out.
Now, Clint Boyer, who is leading this race, Shane Wilson decided to go with just 2 right side tires, as well as Ryan Newman back in 3rd, and Carl Edwards in the 99 car, who is up to 8th right now.
Boy, Larry, that caution couldn't have come at a better time for a bunch of these guys. They needed adjustments badly, and one guy needed a caution to keep him going a lap down. That was Dale Jr.
Carl Edwards up into the top 10 after what he called a horrible qualifying lap that put him 37th on the grid.
But I'm going to tell you, we're going to have a battle for the lead here right away. Denny Hamlin, the 11, he just turns the thing to the bottom, and he's able to pick the throttle up so quick. If he ever gets that right front fender inside that left rear quarter panel, I think Clint Boyer's time at the front is going to be short-lived.
Well, and it seems like that 11 car, Larry, it takes it maybe 5 or 6 laps to really get good. It's not bad right now, obviously, but it gets better as it goes along.
And there it is.
Here he comes for the 2nd time tonight. Chesterfield's Denny Hamlin, who has spent more years at Richmond International Raceway in the grandstand than he has behind the wheel, is back out front.
Yeah, and I think he's got to get some gone, because 2 car of Kurt Busch is as fast as he is once he clears these other cars too.
Ryan Newman in that 39 car, he's going to take the 2nd spot away from Clint Boyer. Ryan Newman has just 2 fresh right side tires, just like Boyer, but there's Kurt Busch in that 2 car right on the back bumper of it.
Yeah, those guys, the 39 and the 33, both with 2 tires. They're going to hold that 2 up for a little bit here, running side by side like that. Kurt's just got to be patient right here. He's much faster, but he doesn't want to force anything. It's way too early.
But while Kurt's riding behind those 2 guys side by side, that little black dot up there called an 11 car is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and certainly Kurt knows that, and that's the only thing about it. You got to be patient right here with these 2 guys on two tires that are running about the same speed. Here you go. Might have gotten a run under him there, but can't make the pass.
Well, Newman had the line on the bottom, but Boyer up high got such a good drive off turn 2 that they enter turn 3 dead even again.
Yeah, the only way Kurt's going to get by him is he's going to have to get a nose up under him off the corner. He'll go by both of them at the same time if everything works out right.
But why this group, they have Kurt Busch stacked up. We see a couple other players coming into the picture there. Mark Martin in the 5 and Kyle Busch in the 18.
Newman edging ahead of Boyer, who got loose off turn 2 that time.
Yeah, that's good news for the 2 car. He'll be able to move on by now because just couldn't do anything with those cars running side by side.
Kyle tries the outside on Mark, but if he makes that move, well, that's where Boyer would have been.
Kyle likes that outside.
Yes.
We've seen him do this on Ford on the restarts already. We've seen him do it. He really likes that outside.
And here comes Jeff Gordon into the picture as well in the pack behind the race leaders as Newman and Busch battle for second.
You know, Darrell, the only downside to running that high side, especially on the exit of the corners above another race car, is we see cars all the time get loose or start pushing. Late exit, they'll send you right into the wall.
Yeah, you really drive in the corner real hard under the guy trying to clear him. You end up going a little too hard, get on the brakes, get your car loose, and you slide into the guy on the outside. Happens a lot.
It's a whole different racetrack next week, the venerable Darlington Raceway, where they've been running the Southern 500 since 1950, and we'll be there next Saturday night.
That sounds so good, the Southern 500.
You bet. Ryan Newman has only one short track victory in Sprint Cup racing. It came right here in September 2003.
And no disrespect to Miss California, but the Southern, not the Southern California 500, the Darlington Southern 500.
Denny Hamlin said earlier in the week that he's not a believer in a racetrack owing a driver anything, but he said, I will make one exception. When you lead as many laps as he led here last year and cut that tire down with less than 20 laps to go, and we know how bad he wants to win here at this racetrack.
But look how relaxed he is in that car, Larry. I mean, very little input on the steering wheel, a little bit up off the corner. Very, very relaxed, very comfortable in that race car.
One-third distance, 133 laps in. Here at Richmond International Raceway, you're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By FedEx Racing, we understand every day is race day. By Home Depot, more saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the new Coors Light 12-ounce cold activated can. When the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies. 141 laps in this 400-lap race live at Richmond on Saturday night. It's time for an AT&T race break. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers moments ago as Denny Hamlin has led the most laps now, moving in front of Jeff Gordon, who led 53. You said at the start of this race, you got to check those tempers.
You better check those tempers. Watch the 7 car of Robbie Gordon. He comes down, he slams into the side of the 1 of Martin Truex Jr. That's what you call short track racing.
All right, so let's go back to Denny Hamlin, who's led laps in all 7 Richmond races, no wins, 3 top 3 finishes here in the last 6 Richmond races. But let's talk about how he's never been able to get a cup victory here. He said the Nationwide Series race that he won last year was pretty much the biggest of his career.
Yeah, but right now you better be taking a look at what's going on the outside, and that's the 2 car of Kurt Busch. He's going to drive by our hometown boy Denny Hamlin, that 11 car, and take the lead away from him going down in turn 1.
And Kyle Busch currently running 3rd. Kurt Busch, the points leader, of course, coming into this weekend, having moved ahead of Jeff Gordon last week. You know, Kyle said on his 21st birthday here, happy with the car on the short run, but concerned about the longer run.
And I think that's what's getting him in trouble. Darrell talked about it early on. tonight might be the night for a good short-run car, but here so far, the way the weather's played out, you need to have one for the long run. And so far, I think the 18 and the 24 are suffering on the long run.
Carl Edwards has slipped back to 14th, but compared to where he started and coming off the tumultuous trip at Talladega here, what kind of race is he running?
Well, he's been good. He's been working his way through traffic, but all of a sudden, whatever adjustments they made during that last pit stop, it's not really paying off. He's falling back through the field. He's 15th right now.
All right, Jimmy Johnson, you heard about the lap row penalty there. It's going too fast. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just missed being lapped.
Yeah, we got both those guys back. They're kind of margin in the traffic. And again, we see the 83 car pole setter. He's also a lap down because he missed pit road on a green flag run of pit stops, put himself a lap down. But for Jimmy and Dale Earnhardt Jr. both, they've got their work cut out. If they want to win this race, they've got to fight their way through traffic.
Jimmy Johnson has won 3 of the last 4. And to vote for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award from your AT&T phone, text the car number for the crew you think will be the fastest and most valuable. The fan vote, along with Jeff's selection, determines the winning crew each week. So your vote does count. Vote each week for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. And let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. 148 of 400 laps complete. Denny Hamlin has now led over 500 laps at this racetrack. Kurt Busch is the 6th different leader of the race. Jeff Gordon has led 55 laps. Brian Vickers out front for 21. Clint Boyer and Ryan Newman also led a couple. We've had only 3 cautions starting the green-yellow condition in which we started the race. Dave Blaney, single car accident, and one for Jeremy Mayfield. The only cars that are out of the race are the front straightaway. Casey Kane finally loses his battle to keep that Budweiser car under control. He's been loose off turn 4, Darrell, for about the last 25 laps. And finally, it got away from him.
Yeah, I've been reading Budweiser very, very plainly off turn 4 most of the evening.
Watch the red car. Here he comes.
It just steps out.
He's had his hands full since the drop of the green flag.
I mean, he's not even in the throttle hard when it comes around. That's how loose he is.
Jamie McMurray will get the free pass under this, the 4th caution of the day. No apparent damage for Kane's car.
Oh, she is feeding time on pit road. Here they come.
Matt?
Kurt Busch chasing his 2nd win here at Richmond. Very pleased with the race car, and it showed on the stopwatch. No changes for this run. They're just going to try to keep up with the racetrack on the next stop. Maybe a slight air pressure change. Steve?
His brother Kyle Busch says he's still a little bit tight and still a little bit loose on exit. They've just made a small track bar adjustment, Krista.
The 47 came in. Marcus Ambrose's car was loose. They put the air pressure back, and the track position gain worked for Carl Edwards. They took 2 on the last stop. It was 4 right here. Dick.
Denny Hamlin pitted out of 2nd position, is racing for the lead. Looks like he got it coming out of pit road. They made just a minor chassis adjustment to that car on that pit stop.
Hamlin gets out first. 151 laps complete, and the Crown Royal presents the Russ Friedman 400. Ready for the restart. Denny Hamlin once again out front.
Greg Biffle in that 16 car, he's trying to take advantage of this restart. He wants back on the lead lap right now. 1 lap down. He's at the tail end of the lead lap. He'd love to see a caution right now.
Yeah, but that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, he's getting ready to get bushwhacked because he got the 2 Busch brothers breathing down his back bumper.
Looking at Casey Mears there in the 07 car. If we got a caution for the time being, he would be the free pass car, the first car 1 lap down behind the leader.
There are 11 cars 1 lap down with that long green flag run. Biffle's doing a pretty good job of staying out in front of Hamlin, but Hamlin is not yet under any pressure from Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch is under pressure from Kurt Busch, his brother, in that blue 2 car.
Yeah, the 18 car, Kyle Busch had a nice pit stop. Picked up a couple of spots in the pits.
You know, Darrell, I remember there was nobody Donnie Allison liked better to beat on the racetrack than his brother Bobby. And I've got a feeling the Busch brothers kind of feel the same way about each other.
Well, I loved last week when I was talking to Kyle, you know, and he said he and his brother, they get along just fine off the racetrack, but their philosophy on the racetrack is quite different. He said, and he was complaining about me passing him on the outside. He said, but I wanted to tell him, but I was afraid to. But that's the way we do it in the front these days.
Well, I think Kurt's learning how they do things at the front here last few weeks.
Kurt
this year.
Kurt was probably watching that interview.
So Denny Hamlin gets by Greg Biffle in the 16 car, and now Kyle Busch will go by him. So Greg would be the first car one lap down to get the free pass should we get a call.
And no, you play musical adjustments here for a little while because you try to tighten the car up maybe a little bit too much. Maybe you free it up a little bit too much. Kind of go backs and forth here and hopefully have it right at the very end.
Here, let's have a look at what happened from Dale Jr. That's Ruderman just ahead, and you'll see Montoya come into the picture there as Ruderman came across looking for the bottom.
Boy, I don't think he had any idea that Juan was there because the Ruderman in the 00 started to turn down, and here comes Juan Montoya in the 42 underneath him.
Tell you what, looking at Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88 car, he's back there in the 23rd position. Dick Bergman was telling us at break that there is nothing about this race car that he likes right now. Not the way it drives. He's even a little bit aggravated with his spotter, I think, even right now.
Well, that's going to make old buddy of mine, Rooster Alexander, at home very unhappy because this is his 88th birthday, and he told me to tell Dale Jr. to win the race for me since it's my 88th birthday. I might have to get out. I think we're going to have to work on it, Rooster, if he's going to win tonight.
Boy, back of the pack, they get 3 wide through turns 1 and 2, and somehow that all sorted out. Right in front of Carl Edwards. Oh, and Allmendinger is not happy with Stremme and tattoos the rear bumper of the 12 to let him know it.
Yeah, that was a force play.
But the thing about it, Allmendinger is a lap down. Stremme in the 12, as well as his teammate Sam Hornish Jr., they're both on the lead lap.
I don't understand what that was about. Hornish is 14th, and Stremme in the Star Trek car is 15th. Krista?
Sam Hornish is having a great run tonight. He got his first career top 10 a couple weeks ago at Phoenix, and the copy points very similar for this track compared to Phoenix. And Sam told me his car is set up for the long run.
And you know what? We've talked about Sam Hornish, and is he going to make it in this series, and can he do well in these cars? You know what? It wasn't Sam Hornish. It was his car.
Yes.
Because overall, look how much better he's doing, and the Penske cars are overall better.
Well, it's the whole Penske team. Here's Kurt Busch challenging for second. Here's David Stremme in the top 15, running right with Hornish. This team has just had an incredible resurgence over the last several races.
Comeback team of the year.
Absolutely.
But you know what, Darrell? We had Sam Hornish Jr. on our trackside show, and we've had him on there before. That was a different Sam Hornish Jr. we talked to.
Sorry.
Boy, trouble right here on the front straightaway.
Stremme turned Edwards around, and McMurray spins into his teammate.
Boy, that was uncalled for. Not sure what.
Yeah, Darrell, I'm not sure what got Stremme right up and into Carl Edwards.
I don't know, but he sure didn't cut him any slack. I know that.
Nope. Now that right side damage on McMurray was already there.
Let's see if we can see what
You don't got no flat.
created this situation. Here's Stremme. Turns under Carl right here, the 99. They make a little contact, and
he just stayed against him.
But you know he had to, Larry. If he backs off, the 99 comes across his front, across his hood, and would put them both in the wall. So he did the right thing by pushing him on around, actually.
Boy, Matt
Boy,
Kenseth
just barely got by.
Well, that would have been 3 Roush Fenway cars at one lick.
Now, Carl Edwards did get going, and he stayed on the lead lap. You could see what happened to Jamie McMurray. He had to check up because of the 44 Allmendinger, and that's what got him turned around.
Wow, you gotta love short track racing. It's fast and it's furious.
That was an Unchained Melody right there.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race.
Under caution for David Stremme, Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray getting together on the front straightaway. Pit stops complete. Only the first 7 cars did not stop. There are the front 5. At the short track, let's go to Jeff Hammond for tonight's State Farm Safety Report. It's about what? I can't hear you, Jeff. Jeff, can't hear.
The key to success is through communication, whether it's from the top of the pit box to the driver or from the spotter to the driver. It's also important when it comes to safety.
Go, go, go. 2 outside, 2 outside. Stay tight. Right there, clear to the grass. No pressure, no pressure. There you go. No, 1 inside, 1 inside. Up top, 3 wide. Hold up, go, go, go.
So it doesn't matter whether it comes through the radio and the headset or something as simple as a dry erase board to make sure the guys get the instructions done right and safe.
Thanks, Jeff. Doubly tough here at the short track. Hard to hear on pit road and even here up on the spotter's perch as well. A lot of varying strategy. A lot of drivers like Jeff Gordon took 2 tires. Others took 4. Jimmy Johnson made an extra pit stop to check on a fluid leak, and we're ready to go back to green at lap 174.
Not surprised that I was almost surprised we didn't have more cars stay out. We only had 12 laps since they were last on pit road.
The front 7 cars stayed out, along with several of the cars 1 lap down. Casey Mears, Paul Menard, and Mike Bliss were those cars. Everyone else came to pit road. Watching back from Denny Hamlin, the race leader, at Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch behind him, Mark Martin. And Hamlin walking away once again.
Well, yeah, but I think he 18 cleared traffic a little bit better this time, and I think he's going to pay his teammate a little visit here. Whoa, man, 18 got loose off 2 that time. Here comes the 2 car of his brother, Kurt, looking to the bottom.
Now, Kyle Busch has not led this race yet tonight in the 18.
But you're right, Darrell. He got loose off turn 2. Kurt got that right front fender that left for a quarter panel, but then Kyle was a little better. I think right now Kurt's better through 1 and 2. Kyle's better through 3 and 4. Just can't complete the pass on his brother.
I believe he will this time, Larry. He's got that thing down on the bottom, and I think he's going to gas right by him. There he goes.
Side clear, man, clear.
Good job.
Matt?
Mike, after they decided to stay out, conversation back and forth between Kurt and Pat Trice and his crew chief. Kurt simply said the car is just turning so well. Even though it's free on entry and a little more free on exit, I really don't want to mess with it air pressure wise because it's just turning so well. I'm afraid we'll go the wrong direction.
Steve, what's Jimmy Johnson's problem?
Mike, I believe it's a brake line. They brought the 48 down pit road, took the left front tire off and put a flashlight in there. And Chad Canal said we don't have it fixed yet. It's a brake line.
So they definitely could use some more cautions. He's still on the lead lap back in the 22nd position. Of course, what really got him behind was that speeding on pit road a couple of cautions ago.
Well, here's Johnson's teammate, Mark Martin, in the 5. Right up against Kyle Busch.
Like the way Mark just hangs around, you know. You don't say much about him, but he's always up there in the first 4 or 5, waiting. He's just lurking.
But you just knew the way he ran at Phoenix a couple of weeks ago that he was going to be tough here.
Oh, yeah. Boy, Stremme just put the 17 in the wall by accident. They were 3 wide.
Jimmy got into Logano, and Logano goes up and almost hit the wall from Jimmy Johnson. A lot of contact down there.
Yeah, and the 17's got quite a bit of damage, I believe, to the right side of his car. And, you know, Jimmy Johnson, if he's got a brake line loose or leaking, he could be having some real brake issues. You can see the right side of the 17 all scraped up. Watch this. They're 3 wide here. Come off turn 4. Just a little contact right there, and good bit of contact on the 17 up against the wall.
And from onboard Logano.
I mean, you can get by with 3 wide until you get late exit of the corner. You just run out of real estate.
I tell you, that was a hard lick on that 17 car.
Right now, Matt is back in the 21st position, battling Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car.
The good thing for Jimmy Johnson is the front and rear brake systems on these cars are discrete. They do not share any fluid. They're separate systems, so he'll at least have 2 wheel brakes.
He's got brakes. It's just going to be a handful to drive till they can get it repaired. You can see he can't get in the corner right now.
Plus, it will change the balance. Whichever one's leaking, if it's front or rear, it's going to have a little bit different feel than it should have.
Tell you what, Mark Martin just continues his march. Drives by Kyle Busch. That moves him into the 3rd spot. Right now, about 2.5 seconds behind leader Denny Hamlin. See Ryan Newman in that 39 car. He's lurking back there as well.
I like Newman. Boy, I tell you, he's been running so good lately, Larry. And just think about that poor team. They started the year off disastrous, but they have really, really turned it around. Tony Gibson and his crew chief, they've had some great runs here, and they're lurking right outside the top 12.
Yeah, they're only 30 points out of 13th. In fact, over the last 5 races, they have gained 19 spots in the points. And there you can see.
Yeah, poised to move up again tonight. Matt?
Mike, Tony Gibson told me knowledge is everything. In fact, he went back to a setup they used here a year ago with Mark Martin. They finished top 5 in both races. They unloaded with the exact same setup, and it was just as fast. The car in front, Mark Martin, who he worked with last year, his car just too free early on. That's his biggest issue. It's really come in nicely now.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt the track, you know, because of the rain we had, there was no rubber on the track. So obviously there's going to be a big swing in the track conditions.
Now, a guy we've not talked about is his teammate and his car owner, Tony Stewart, in the 14 car. Tony started in 16th position. He's up to 11th. And Darrell, I loved what you said in the pre-race show. It's not one of his favorite racetracks. It is his favorite racetrack. Got his very first win here in his rookie season back in 1999, September of that year.
Let's guys want to go for a lap?
Absolutely. Let me buckle in here.
You drive, we'll ride.
Going down to, here we go. Let's ride with my brother here, Michael Waltrip, in the 55 car. Coming up off of turn 4. We're going to be looking at the start-finish line right here. This front straightaway is a great big old sweeper. Hold it out. Make a little bit of a lane entry down into the bottom of 1 and 2. Car's going to dime in the corner a little bit. Shove up in the middle. Tight off right here. Really got to watch that wall. It jumps right out. Run out of banking. Short back straightaway. Try to get down on that yellow line with that left front tire and then pick the gas up hard as you can right here and not get loose and bump the wall right there.
Superior stopping power, not only crucial at Richmond, but on your own vehicle. You can get it now with Napa Adaptive One brake pads. Check out adaptive1.com.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson is in trouble. The 48 car.
Caution.
Caution is out.
Caution's out. Start rolling. Leader's in the middle of the corner if you can.
And
Leader's 15 behind you.
Jimmy gets
clear.
away.
Good job.
And will stay.
0 brakes, man.
On the lead lap, says he has 0 brakes.
0 brakes, yeah.
Good job.
See, with the balance bar, and that's what hooks the 2 master cylinders together, when one starts to leak, it sets the balance bar at such an angle, you lose your brake pedal.
In a caution lap here is such a short time. It's going to be hard to fix what they're trying to fix and stay on the lead lap at the same time.
The caution is good news for Robbie Gordon. He will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap. That'll give us 24 cars on the lead lap. And let's show you what happened to Jimmy Johnson right here.
Yeah. Looks like he just maybe has a lot of rear brake in the car, and that locked the rear tires up, and that's what spun it out. But looking at, well, he's trying to keep it off the wall here, so.
John Andretti in the 34 just stopped till he was finished spinning.
See the cowl flaps open up. That lets the air pressure out from under the hood of the car. It's another one of the safety items on the cars.
Pit road's open. And most everybody on the lead lap will come in. Denny Hamlin leads him down, Matt.
Kurt Busch in the 2, currently running in the 2nd spot. The Miller Lite guys on the board, on the wall, waiting for him to hit the board. Comes to a stop. No adjustments this stop as well for Kurt Busch in the 2. Steve.
Matt, Kyle Busch said undo what you did on that last stop. So they're going to reverse that track bar change. They also made an air pressure adjustment. Let's go to Dick.
Denny Hamlin has been absolutely flawless in bringing his car onto pit road. He is again. This pit crew has been absolutely flawless as well. The slightest chassis adjustment. There goes the the 11 cars. You going to beat them out? Oh, yeah. Pit crew got it done.
Pretty much looks like everybody went with 4 tires on this particular caution as we're 7 laps away from halfway. See a lot of problems with Ryan Newman in that 39 car, lost 6 spots on that stop.
And Jeff Burton got blocked in.
Oh,
trying to get out as Montoya backs up.
Backing up.
Ooh, contact.
Wow. Very little, though. Just barely scraped the rear bumper of the 42 car.
Like to have been big.
Could have been.
Hope it didn't hurt the left rear tire on Burton's car. Jamie Mack makes a stop. Well, we've had our brake issues here tonight. Let's go down to Jeff Hammond at the Ask.com Ford Fusion cutaway car.
Guys, we've been talking about the brake problems on the 48 car, and Darrell keeps referring to the way the master cylinders are set up on this car and the balance bar. Let me show you where he's talking about. When you look underneath the dash, here is the brake pedal. It's where it's located in. The balance bar actually runs through the center of the pedal. We've already seen where Casey Kane was adjusting this from basically the front master cylinder to the rear master cylinder, or vice versa. When you get it cranked too very far, all of a sudden there is an imbalance there, and it's like Darrell said, all of a sudden it can get awkwardly, in a pitched way, and all of a sudden you lose the brakes and everything just kind of locks up. Here's the 2 master cylinders we're talking about. You can see how all of a sudden how it's labeled front and rear here on our car, and like he keeps pointing out, if you just one too very far, you're going to lose the other, and you're going to have a lot of trouble.
Thanks, Jeff. We're ready to go back to green. Everybody's made pit stops. Denny Hamlin out in front of Kurt Busch. We'll try to get an update on what happened to Ryan Newman. He lost a lot of spots on that stop. Newman is now 10th.
What I was just looking, it looks like Jimmy Johnson 2 laps down as we're coming to the green.
Matt, what happened to Newman?
Mike, quickly, just some issues on the front when they were servicing the car. Lost 6 spots.
We're back under green. Hamlin under pressure from Kurt Busch on the bottom, turn 1.
Got him.
Did he?
Almost got him.
Hamlin, that big drive off the top of the corner.
I talked about Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car being shown 2 laps down, and we're hearing that the black flag may be out for the 48 car.
Wow, what did he do? Not restart in the proper position, maybe?
That's correct, Darrell. Johnson will now have to serve a drive-through penalty,
which will put him at least 1 to 2 more laps down. So what was a bad night just went to the worse
for the driver who has won 3 of the last 4 races here.
Nothing but bad breaks for them tonight.
But
no pun intended. You know what we haven't done tonight? Crank it up.
Oh, I couldn't think anything, but
trouble on Mike Bliss, driving for James Finch, the team that won Talladega with Brad Keselowski. Very slow down the front straightaway and trailing the field. Was running mid-pack 1 lap down.
I just put my foot on the brake and it just violently shook and took off into the wall. Didn't hit the wall.
A lot of brake problems tonight.
Yep. This car requires a lot more brake than what we're accustomed to seeing here. It's just you got to slow this car down so much to get it in the corner. Takes a lot of brake.
Bliss gets to pit road. Without incident, we stay green.
tell you, a guy in a team that's made a nice recovery, you know, on that first caution, he was about to go a lap down, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I wanted to make sure that they changed 4 tires on that last stop, and they indeed did. And he's just outside the top 10, back in the 11th spot right now.
That's not a great recovery. That's an incredible recovery. I've been watching his car, and it was dog meat.
Now he's right behind Ryan Newman right there and gets sideways off the corner. And Hornish avoids contact, but Allmendinger does not. Right there.
Get back in there amongst everybody. You get bumped around quite a bit.
But considering they were outside the top 20 for most of the first third of this race, now they're sitting there in the 11th. That's a great recovery. It looks like he's just going to drive by the outside of Clint Boyer in that 33 car.
If he can, it'll put him into the top 10. But pole sitter Brian Vickers is right there just in front of Junior.
Now, as Jeff Hammond pointed out just a little while ago, Brian Vickers is 1 lap down back in the 31st position.
Oh, I don't think that was a good idea.
3 wide worked last week at Talladega. It will not work here.
I'm not a big fan of 3 wide anywhere, to tell you the truth. When I'm driving. It's all right up here.
It's nice up here.
I like it up here.
You can go into that corner 3 wide, but it's hard to get off turn 2
come
3
out,
wide.
yeah.
Mike Bliss has taken his car to the garage. Jeff Burton pulls down on Dale Jr. for 10th. Or 12th place now, rather. Junior was fighting for 10th. The battle is now for 12th. Denny Hamlin has led over 100 laps tonight. 208 complete in the Crown Royal presents the Russ Friedman 400 at Richmond. We're under the 7th caution of the night, and Denny Hamlin gets beat off pit road by Ryan Newman. Sam Hornish gets out 2nd, Mark Martin 3rd, and Kurt Busch 4th. The reason we are under caution is Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting into Jeff Burton at the entrance of turn 3. We'll recap pit stops in a second here. Let's show you what happened.
You know what this looks like, Mike? I think I said this to you when it happened. This is what the 18 did to the 88 here last year. See how it looked like the 88 turned right?
Yeah.
It was because when he got on the brakes, he got loose. And so he's trying to catch the car, and the 31 was on the outside of him.
There you go. There, what's your door there?
Whoops.
Doesn't take much.
One inside,
getting into the corner here.
One inside, caution's out.
Minor damage to Burton's car. Up against the wall to the rear.
Still there.
And let's go downstairs for an AT&T race break.
Caution's out.
And you'll see that in
All right, thanks, Mike. Let's do a quick recap on the highlights. Of course, we had a race that started after the rain had hit most of the day. Green-white checker. Brian Vickers, pole sitter. Jeff Gordon dominated most of the first 100 laps, leading by 100. Rain didn't really affect things, just a slow, smooth start. Kurt Busch, your points leader, coming in, passes the track favorite, Denny Hamlin, who has led the most laps tonight. But Carl Edwards currently running 16th, and Strebe from behind. McMurray's involved, slipping and sliding. His car wasn't running well all night. Carl Edwards looks similar a little bit, the way he got bumped there. Jimmy Johnson has won 3 out of the last 4 Richmond races, running 21st and spinning into trouble here. And then moments ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Jeff Burton.
And you see him going around right there. And again, you know, this is a byproduct of what you see at Richmond and short track racing. You asked me about intensity during the pre-race. This is what you're going to be seeing the rest of the night. This is short track racing at its finest, Chris. Beating, banging, guys not giving, taking. It's just the way you're going to do it here.
And the crews and pit crews staying on top of things as Martin Truex Jr. as we cycle through. Ryan Newman is hanging in there so far this evening.
Oh, it's incredible. I just got word that the 88th driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. radioed to tell Burton's crew, hey, sorry about that. Did not mean to get in the side of you, but hey, you're not supposed to be saying you're sorry when you're short track racing.
That's part of it here. Any thoughts early as we are under caution here and get ready to go green?
No, right now I'm kind of surprised. We talked about Martin Truex Jr. He's leading this race. It might be a great opportunity to see exactly how strong that car is, but also the 39 car, he's been running better and better each week. Got to watch out for Stuart Haas.
And text to 2258 the crew you think is doing the fastest, delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network.
Thanks, Chris. Boy, Ryan Newman's crew really made up for that bad pit stop on the last caution flag.
Well, they learned early that 2 tires was good. They went with it again, as well as Sam Hornish Jr. and Martin Truex Jr., who's leading this race right now as we get the green.
Well, the 39 had to do that, Larry. They lost so much time on the previous stop. They needed to get that track position back. I'm thinking
wide, Hamlin on the outside. Oh, they got away with it.
I'm thinking that they're thinking the same thing I am. They're going to be a quick caution.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Newman not only wanted to get back up near the front, he looks like he wants the lead of this thing side by side with Truex Jr. at the finish line.
That old Army car is on the march, boys.
See if he can get that run off the high side.
Ooh, man, that thing took off. I thought he was going to smack the fence.
Boy, Truex car just runs like rails right around the bottom.
There's a lot of grip. These left side tires are really got a lot of grip in them. They get down on that paint for that yellow line, and it really is sticky.
Well, I know we're watching right now what was a battle for the lead, but this bunch back about mid-pack, they are 3 wide, sideways, beating and banging, smoking.
That's the fun bunch back there.
Yeah,
Carl right on the bottom makes them 3 wide with Ambrose on the outside, and he passes Menard in the 98.
Wow. Don't look, Ethel.
No. Oh, by the way, Casey Mears got the free pass on that caution. So he's back on the lead lap, 21st.
Looks like the 12's got a little tire rub up in front of some of these guys here. Just saw a bunch of smoke coming out of his car.
Let's show you from Michael Waltrip what happened 1 lap ago. That's Jeff Gordon just ahead. David Rudiman ahead of him.
That's the 83 car. He locked up the brakes getting in the corner. I think it panicked everybody.
Well, Larry, we're past halfway. We've beaten the rain to 200 laps, so this will be an official race. How does strategy play out now that we've got 180 laps to run, and it looks like we're going to get it all in?
Well, it's a one-stop race on fuel, but what I've seen, if you run maybe under 20 laps, 2 tires looks like it works pretty good. If you run much more than that, I think you have to come to pit road and get 4 tires.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I want the comfort of 4 tires if I can afford to get them.
But Brian Vickers, the 83 car, he just got all into the back of Kyle Busch in the 18 car, getting off into turn 3 and 4.
Vickers is having a brake issue of some kind. He keeps locking the brakes up big time.
And then David Rudiman almost turned him around. So he is holding this pack up, and you see the...
I think he's getting ready to take a little ride into the 3rd turn here.
There it goes.
Bye-bye. And that cost Kyle Busch 2 spots.
No, he doesn't care. I mean, it just doesn't, it really doesn't matter that it cost him 2 spots. He got his message across. Don't mess with the bull.
But you're right. There's something going on with that 83 car. It's just something is not right with it right now.
Well, I think that's what Kyle knew. He's having brake problems. If he pushes him in the corner, he'll definitely move out of the way.
On the right, there's the 83 2 laps ago, and you saw Rudiman get into him.
You can't, listen, guys, you cannot play nice if you want to win.
Tell you what, you see Greg Biffle in the 16 car right there. Just remember, it wasn't that long ago that he got the free pass. He was a lap down. Now he's sitting there in the 12th position.
Kyle Busch showed a little bit of his temper there, Steve.
Yeah, and DW, Kyle Busch doesn't care what Brian Vickers' problems are. He just told his spotter, tell NASCAR I'm going to take care of the 83 if he can't take care of himself.
And I think he got his message across.
I think message delivered.
Something's wrong with the 83. He probably should have gotten out of Kyle's way, but he doesn't know Kyle's in that big a hurry. What's wrong with him, Dick?
I don't know what's wrong with the 83. I just talked to crew chief Brian Pemberton. He said that they have so many issues with that car, they don't know exactly which one it is that's causing him the most trouble.
Yeah, he can't get in the corner, and he can't really get off the corner.
And then now he's made Kyle Busch bad. He's really in trouble.
The top 12 when we come back here to Richmond in September will make the chase for the Sprint Cup. Terminator Salvation, We Fight Back, shows you the drivers who are on the outside looking in, trying to fight their way back into the top 12. Terminator Salvation opens everywhere Thursday, May 21st.
And if you look at the first 5 years of the chase, 2004 through 2008, the numbers say 80% of those top 12 drivers that leave here in the top 12 from this spring race, that they're also there when we leave here in the fall. So kind of a comfort level based on the numbers to be in the top 12 when the checker flag waves tonight.
Things closed up there on Michael just a bit. Stremme to the inside in the 12.
And Michael's back. He's one lap down in 31st spot, so not having a great night.
We have 24 cars on the lead lap. Out of the race, Mike Bliss, David Gilliland, Joe Nemechek, Tony Raines, Scott Riggs, and Dave Blaney.
Meanwhile, Sudden Sam, I mean, all the Penske cars are having quite a good night. Sam Hornish running in 7th, Krista.
That's right, Mike. Sam, I am right now. They did a 2-tire stop on their last stop. Sam actually apologized to the crew. He said, sorry, guys, I was a little bit asleep on that one. Crew chief Travis Geisler saying, yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up, but that's okay. We don't do 2-tire stops that often. They just made a little bit of a strategy move for the weather. They know the rain is still a ways off, but why not get up front?
Jeff Hammond.
Guys, I had an opportunity to talk to Roger Penske before the start of this race, and I made the comment in the pre-race. He is proud as a peacock the fact that, you know, Kurt Busch is leading the points, but he is especially proud of what Sam Hornish has been able to accomplish because of the fact that he's been able to do this without any kind of really good testing. It's been very difficult for him, and he says right now Sam is developing that confidence, and he said, oh, by the way, David Stremme and that team is starting to come together, and basically on a whole, he feels like this is his year to kind of turn it around. As we're seeing a battle for the lead right now. The 39 car of Ryan Newman is trying to get around Martin Truex Jr., and right now Martin will not let it happen. He's trying to run that high groove, and Ryan is trying to go to the bottom.
You know, Newman has a lieutenant general in his pit, and it just seems that when the National Guard colors are on Junior's car or Jeff Gordon's car, or the Army colors on Newman's car, driver's chest gets puffed out a bit and you run a little harder and run up front because you're running for America. You're not just running for your race team. You're running for everybody who wears the uniform, and Ryan Newman has put that Army car out front. How about that?
I just believe there's a little private contest between Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart. Who's going to be the first driver to win at Stewart Haas Racing between those two guys?
I'd take Newman tonight.
Ryan Newman has one short track win in his Sprint Cup career, and it came right here.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Toyota, moving forward. By Cheez-It, the big cheese. By Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic, our ultimate clean, your ultimate feeling. And by AT&T, your world delivered.
Denny Hamlin sends it hard into turn 3. Ryan Newman with the lead. They're 3 car lengths apart. As Ask.com has a question for you. Get the answer there and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge at the official search engine of NASCAR. I think Ryan Newman's drive off turn 2 is about all that's allowing him to keep the lead from Denny Hamlin right now. The report is there's rain in the area, and you don't even want to see the weather radar. It is greener than the lettering on Hamlin's car. Dick?
And Hamlin has been told exactly that by his crew chief, Mike Ford, who has recommended to Hamlin, pick it up. I asked Hamlin before this race started if he was going to try to run to lap 200 in case of rain or lap 400. He thought for a moment and he said 300. Remember, Hamlin's from here. He knows the weather.
Well, we are 53 laps away from lap 300.
Here's a battle for 8 between Sam Hornish Jr., the 77, Tony Stewart in the 14. Owner of that 39 car of Ryan Newman leading the race.
These two teams, the 14 to 39 Stewart Haas cars, have been really impressive, Larry. You got to admit that. Who would have ever thought that that company would turn around the way it has?
I think it just goes to show you our sport is about people and not just the drivers. There's been driver change over there, and there's been a lot of people change. Hamlin, I think he knows that that weather may be close. He's going to drive to the bottom, get to the inside of Ryan Newman in that 39.
Newman gives him plenty of room on the inside, and I don't think it's going to put up a lot of fight right here as Hamlin slices back to the lead.
Yeah, Ryan really can. He got 2 tires, and you know it's about the point where they'll start to give up a little bit. And the 11 got 4 tires. It's about where they will pick up. And away he goes.
Yeah, the 2-tire strategy, you're banking on not a long green run when you do that.
And the green came out at lap 218, 32 laps ago.
This is about where those left side tires will start to give up. It's a very soft compound, has a lot of grip, and on a long run it starts to really lose grip.
Martin Truex is another second back in 3rd. Mark Martin 4th, Kurt Busch 5th, and Jeff Gordon got it back up to 6th, but seems to be stuck there.
He is, Mike, and his direct quote moments ago, I am really struggling. I am so loose in. I have to drive the car in very straight, and I have to be extra careful.
You can see him fighting loose off of turn 2 that last time.
He's in 6th place, but he's 5 seconds back of the lead, 1.5 seconds ahead of Kyle Busch. Here are the top 12 as they stand at this moment. Kurt Busch would retain the point lead over Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin. Greg Biffle would anchor the top 12. Terminator Salvation opens everywhere Thursday, May 21st.
That would be Ryan Newman's first appearance in the top 12 in 2009. You see, as they run now, he's up to the 10th spot.
But now my man Rudy Tootie, you got to admit, he's sitting there in 9th place right now in the points. He's running 10th on the racetrack. This guy goes quietly about his business every week. He ends up in the top 10 and is hanging in the top 12 in points. Pretty impressive for that team.
And to be 10th right now, he's had to overcome a pit road penalty.
Yeah, he had
that
tire getaway.
There's a look at Ruderman. He is 9.8 seconds off the lead.
Car looks good. He's been doing a nice job. We haven't talked about him much. Kept his nose clean.
I'll tell you another guy that's had a good drive tonight. He started back in the 29th position. Juan Pablo Montoya, he has made his way to the top 12 as we watch this battle right now for 3rd place. Remember, Martin Truex Jr., another one of the cars that went with just 2 right side tires on that last stop. And I think we're starting to see that that's not working on the long run. But back to Montoya, we had a unique schedule here this weekend. We had 2 hour-and-a-half practice sessions yesterday. Qualifying, NASCAR didn't impound the cars, but there was no practice. Brian Patty told me before qualifying they changed everything but the engine and the driver on that race car.
Wow. Martin Truex is going to slide a little further back with that 2-tire strategy as Kurt Busch working his way back toward the front mat. He's up to 4th.
Kurt Busch, one of the faster cars early on, looking ahead to the next segment we're going to complete here. He says right now we cannot win the race the way we are. He said the car is just way too free. Pat Trice is looking at a combo plan of adjustments on their next stop. Going to go a track bar adjustment and at least 1 air pressure change.
Matt, what's his demeanor on the radio? Several races ago, we heard he and Roger Penske in a big dust-up on the radio when nothing was going right for Kurt. What's his attitude right now?
Mike, it's been cool and calm on the radio all night. In fact, before Kurt came to Richmond, he stopped off in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He saw a bumper sticker. He liked it, brought it with him, and a lot of times Kurt likes to put a little message on the dash just to remind himself of different things during the race. This sticker on the dash tonight was simply a circle with a red line going through it and a few numbers and question marks, basically a no cussing sticker on the dash for Kurt Busch.
With the captain on the other end of the radio, Roger Penske, that's not a bad idea.
I think he probably got his ear full after the Martinsville race. You know, we talk about his brother now. Kyle, remember Kyle was complaining about the adjustment they made on the car and that they'd gone the wrong way. They made the changes. I don't know what they changed, but it really has gone the wrong way this time because he has fallen back, and right now he's running 7th.
Yeah, he's 7 seconds off the lead.
Car doesn't look anything like it did early.
Nope.
And Mike, as far as any changes these guys may be looking for, if we stay green, we're about 45 to 50 laps away from that green flag stop.
139 laps to go in Richmond.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Get the inside track from Penske Racing and race analysis, plus highlights and high-speed action, all on VCast from Verizon Wireless, America's largest, most reliable wireless network.
Green flag with 122 laps to go. Denny Hamlin came into the pits leading and came out 8th because of lug nut problems on the right front.
Boy, yeah. Jeff Gordon is, I mean, he is pushing Ryan Newman down the back straightaway, guys. Sorry, Mike, but I thought he was going to turn him there for a second.
That 24 crew, they had a great pit stop.
Boy,
they did do 4 tires.
I think Jeff knew he needed to get on that 39 if he was going to do anything with him.
So it's Newman, Gordon, Martin, and the Busch brothers. On the right, you will see Hamlin's pit stop. Lug nuts come off just fine.
Good shape right there. Mike Hicks, the front tire changer. You see one lug nut, a second one, had to go after a third one. So a lot of trouble on the right front of 11. That's the reason he lost so many spots there. You see all the other cars already coming off pit road.
But at least he stayed there and got them on and didn't take a penalty. Maybe a slower stop, obviously, but at least he didn't get a penalty.
That's a battle for third right there between Martin in the 5, Kyle Busch in the 18. Mark's kind of pinned behind Paul Menard in that 98 car.
Kyle Busch now has open track between himself and Jeff Gordon and then Ryan Newman.
You know what I love about Mark Martin? He won't cause you to make a mistake, but he'll help you make one.
Here comes Hamlin. Now he's battling Truex for 6th place. Dick trying to get back to the front.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a surprise, Mike, that this crew had problems with lug nuts, because way back in December, with this new rule about the way one thread had to show on each of the studs when the lug nuts were on, these guys were all over it. They've tried different kinds of glue. They've tried different lengths of curing. They've worked on being slower and more methodical with their pit stop. Everything had gone perfectly until the money stopped in the big race.
Well, the bottom line, the lug studs are over a 1/4 inch longer than they were last year. One crew chief told me it used to take 6 revolutions to tighten the lug nut with the old lug stud. Now it takes almost double that with this new lug stud.
Well, Larry, you just said this, and I'm not sure that I understand, because I was under the impression the stud's the same
Turn
length,
2.
has more threads on it.
Greg Biffle's in the wall. Sorry, Darrell.
Right, try to get it going. No caution. Try to get it going. Come on down the hill. Nothing's coming. 20 got us.
Yeah, Larry, I thought that the studs were the same length. They just had more threads on them.
Well, I think what I'm describing is the length of the threads.
Just the length of the threads. I'm sorry. Yeah, because I've had a lot of people ask me how much longer. The studs are a lot longer. Yeah.
Right in front of Joey Logano there is Biffle coming down to get on the part of the racetrack where there's traction, and Logano was already coming up the racetrack. 3 into 1 won't go.
3 wide. We've already seen, a number of times tonight that could have happened a lot tonight, because we've seen this on a number of occasions. I think Biffle's car is going to be okay.
And Jamie McMurray will get the free pass as we're under caution for the 9th time tonight. We're still under caution at Richmond. Here's tonight's Ford Drive 1 moment. Alan Kulwicki in the 7 comes within 18 inches of beating a race dominant Bill Elliott at Richmond. Elliott driving for Junior Johnson got the win as Kulwicki pulled alongside of the finish line, came up 18 inches short. Elliott got his 2nd career short track win after leading 348 of the 400 laps. Want to win a Ford Fusion? Log on to WeRaceYouWin.com to see how. 111 laps to go. Newman, Gordon, Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, Martin Truex. McMurray got the free pass, and here we go.
It's going to get, it just keeps getting a little bit more intense and a little bit more intense and really intense going into turn one.
Right wide.
Sorry, Jeff. Bye, Jeff.
That almost was big.
Yes, it was. He's going to go from second to probably outside the top 5, it looks like.
Or possibly into the fence, because it's getting wild. It got a car around.
And in the wall hard goes Kevin Harvick.
Harvick hits the wall hard.
I blew a left rear tire.
You just knew, Darrell, it was going to be one of those restarts.
Well, when you saw him go down into first turn down there,
right front.
I think he said he blew that. I think he blew that left rear tire.
Left rear.
But was it from contact before he got to the corner?
That's the whole thing. These splitters will cut a left rear tire down in a heartbeat.
There's his wife Delana looking on, looking for the replay. Here it is. Here's the restart. And Harvick's on the outside lane, about 12 cars back.
Carl Edwards goes down under David Reagan, and they're 3 wide entering the corner. Reagan shoves 24 up the hill, and there goes Kyle Busch. Where is the 29? He's back in there somewhere. He must have gotten some contact.
Yep. A little further back. Here he comes into turn. Oh,
no,
boy.
no.
Yep. Left
but
rear's already down.
I guarantee you, yeah, that tire's down before he ever gets to the corner, but it's got, you can tell it's been rubbed on. Something's been up against it because all the letters gone off of it.
Here's another look. Left side of your screen is Harvick. Oh, Allmendinger got into it.
Yeah, but I think even still.
I think it was already down before the.
Yeah.
You could see it starting to smoke.
Yeah. That happened up coming off turn 2, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Allmendinger did not cut the tire down.
Here he is back. Here he is back here. And there's where you get your tire cut down, right there.
Sam Hornish got into him.
Jr. in
Pow! You saw it just blow out right there.
Elliott Sadler had ridden Sam Hornish up the racetrack. He didn't just drive up into Harvick.
So splitter, you can see it. Just see it stick out on the right front of all these cars. And if you get that thing positioned just right up against somebody's left rear tire, it'll cut it down.
Wow, that's a hard hit. Carl Edwards does get the free pass.
That'll make Jeff Gordon happy. He won't be down there underneath him next going into turn 1 this time.
And let's have a look at tonight's State Farm Pit Road Spotlight.
5, 4, 3, around the 24, right here. It's going to be 4 tires, 4 tires.
I don't know what to do any other than what I just did. I mean, I got to go around the 24.
10-4, I'm mad at you. I'm just mad at the situation.
No, I hear you. I'm mad at it too. I mean, we got to get around the 24. Their guys are running out. You know, they're out in the pit road a mile.
Jeff Burton gets great support from his crew, just like the support you can expect from your local State Farm agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I don't know, guys, but I didn't sound like people that were very mad to me. I don't sound like that when I'm mad. Do you, Larry?
No, not even remotely.
Getting ready for the restart. Saturday, in a repeat of the AL East battle of last year, Tampa Bay versus Boston, or you'll see the Giants Dodgers, or Atlanta against the world champion Phillies. Fox Saturday Baseball next week, 3:30 p.m. a special time, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, following This Week in Baseball presented by Pepsi. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area.
So here's the deal. You watch that baseball game, grab something to eat, grab something to drink, and then keep tuned in on Fox because we'll be at Darlington next Saturday night.
The Southern
500.
You can get the answer to this at Ask.com and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge. Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR.
And we've got 22 cars on the lead lap. We only had 2 of the lead lap cars takers under this caution. We actually had 2 of the Penske cars, David Stremme and Sam Hornish Jr., come to pit road. We are now getting in, I think, that window. I don't think we're finished with cautions, but we're within the window that you could possibly make it to the end.
That's the window I've been looking for. It just needs a little crack in it too, buddy.
16 lead changes among 7 leaders tonight. Ryan Newman up front.
Unfortunately, there's just too many people around here that are in a hurry.
Checking downstairs at the front desk of the Hollywood Hotel.
Well, Ryan Newman is out in front, of course, Mike, but Denny Hamlin, who has had his opportunities and led the most laps tonight in the last 5 races that Denny has led the most laps, he has failed to win, currently running 6th, and right in front of him it's Martin Truex Jr. and then Ryan Newman, your leader, followed by Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin.
You know, you hate to keep harping on something. We know that he's got a fast race car, as well as Kurt Busch. I think there's, again, if they have an opportunity to make a run on these guys, they've got to pick it up. They got to make it happen. And the only way they're going to get in the front now is they're going to push and shove to get there. And that could wind up, we might have a lot more cautions because of it.
And for what it's worth, it's been 44 races since Ryan Newman's last Cup win. We've had a year so far of streaks coming to an end. Mark Martin, 97. Jeff Gordon, 47. Matt Kenseth went 36 races. Could this be Ryan Newman's night?
It could be Ryan Newman's night, as well as Stewart Haas and Tony Stewart. But the key thing right now is, we talked about it all night long, can that 18 car make it run like it needs to for the next 105 laps up toward the front of this thing, or will it, you know, falter when it counts the most? But he's been fast when it counts, but can he make it work, you know, when it matters over the long haul? And take a look right now here at the 99 car, Carl Edwards. He finds himself on pit road, all the way back here in the 22nd position.
And speaking of pit road, let's talk about, as we always ask people to text in at AT&T, your picks for the fastest pit crew. And you've Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. Also, Ryan Newman has been added to that. Correction on my part.
Yep, Ryan Newman right there. Those guys right there, again, they've been performing pretty darn good all night long.
And if you text to 2258, we appreciate the vote. Looking for a help from above. So far,
they're looking for that weather help.
The rain has held up so far, and that's one of the things that's worth talking about.
Oh, and they'll take it any way they can get this victory too, Chris.
You know, when Mike was talking about the Army or any of the service cars that have been sponsored, of course, the Russ Frledman 400 named in his honor, who was awarded 2 Purple Hearts. And here to watch the race, someone who served in the Marines. They have enjoyed an excellent race tonight, and there were a number of servicemen and servicewomen here, complimentary tickets from NASCAR and the people at this track to enjoy the race. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
The way Russ Frledman got his name on this race, and this is the 3rd year Crown Royal, the race sponsor has done this, is you write a 50-word essay on why the race should be named for you. Frledman, we've mentioned, received 2 Purple Hearts in Iraq as a Marine. He's no longer on active duty because of his injuries, but he said, I want this race in my name so I can share it with everyone who wears the uniform. And he proudly gave the command to start engines, and it's the Crown Royal presents the Russ Frledman 400, and it's back under green with 101 laps to go.
We do need to mention it took Gil Martin and that 29 crew about 4 laps to make the repairs on that 29 car. He's back in the 36th position. Boy, we got Kyle Busch in that 18 car to the high side. He just packs it down into turn 3, but Newman fights back on the bottom.
But on these restarts, Larry, Kyle has got that outside, man. He's got that figured out. He's so good on a restart, and he jumps right around you on the outside and checks out.
Now, Denny Hamlin took the last restart 8th, fought his way up to 6th. That's where he is right now. Dick, but has he damaged that car?
Whoa. Yeah, there's a little bit of damage on it, Mike, but it shouldn't hinder him at all. The real problem was that pit stop where they dropped some lug nuts, put him all the way back to the 8th spot. He's picked up 2 since that time. He's not got a lot of laps to make up the others.
I'll tell you one thing, we got us a battle here,
yes,
boys, for the lead. That Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man, is not going to give up the lead.
He's got 4 fresh tires, had a good pit stop, and he's running right around the bottom. They just continue to run side by side.
And it's so hard to do. Hard to go in underneath somebody and not lose that back end and get into the guy on the outside. You have to really have a good handling race car.
But this is why everybody loves this racetrack. Side by side for the lead, lap after lap. It just doesn't get any better than this.
That's why you love short track racing in general, and particularly here, because you just get to see so much great racing.
Newman holds off the charge from Kyle Busch.
And I know Jeff Gordon, he's not very happy with his race car, but he's hanging right in there behind these guys in that 24 car.
How many times do we say, Larry, don't worry about how good your car is, just worry about how good it is compared to everybody else.
That's all that matters. It's like playing 21. It doesn't matter if you get 21, just beat the dealer. That's it.
Mark Martin underneath the lap car of David Reagan, trying to move up and be a part of this lead battle, bringing Martin Truex with him. Hamlin behind them. Hamlin is 2.5 seconds off the lead. For most of the night, he's had the fastest car here, and Hamlin has led the most laps, 148 of them.
The Hamlin car, the 11 car, just seems like it takes quite a few laps for it to really come in and be better than everyone else.
But Darrell, I don't know how many times at this race have we seen in the second half a pit stop cost the best race car of the race.
Yeah, but I think there also the other thing is we talked about cars that are good on the long run, which I know the 11 is, but that may not pay off tonight. We got these cautions coming, and we got a lot of hard racing going on. Got
Turn
trouble
2.
in turn 2.
It is Marcus Ambrose.
And Ambrose is round hard into the wall.
And that'll be caution flag number 11.
And that's it. This is what we're going to see from here on out. See some heavy, hard racing with a lot of contact.
And Marcos was up in about the top 16 or 17.
Let's see what happened to Marcos here.
There he is on the outside.
Probably get a little help here, most likely. Let's see what happens.
And not too politely.
Just slightly.
There.
Sam got him.
77 car of Hornish.
And that's the thing about this first turn on this racetrack. It's so wide going down the front and into turn 1, but you just can't make the corner when you're out that wide and somebody under you.
And look, there's Carl, there's Jamie. 4 Roush cars are right packed together. They all missed it.
Well, here's what's interesting. Pit road is full of cars. Jeff Gordon stayed out. Matt.
44 races. It's his last win. Ryan Newman says the car not bad. I really don't know if we even want to touch it. To Steve.
Matt, Kyle Busch says, you fixed my rear grip. Now help me turn. Help me turn this car better. 4 tires for Kyle Busch.
And I don't think that the 24 car is going to be happy they stayed out, Darrell, because they have not been to pit road since lap 274, and it looks like to me everybody else was on pit road.
And man, there was some serious racing on pit road too.
Yes, there was. Denny Hamlin beat that group out. But Jeff Gordon is now the leader.
We've been fighting a long time, and we've all lost so very much. Victory lies in the soul of the human spirit.
You ready? Green, green, green. Dick. Hard, easy now. Bring it to us, bring it to us. Gas hard, gas hard, gas hard, gas hard. You ran me out of gas. Another 20 feet, I was going to run out of gas. Well, just tell him I got loose under their knee deep. I'm sorry about that. Dig. Hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome job, boys. Awesome job.
That's our Cheez-It sound bites of the race. All right, Jeff Gordon started outside pole. He's your leader. Been a while since he's been on pit road. Then the Fords of Edwards and McMurray, then Hornish and Stremme teammates, and the first of the cars that stopped the last time, Denny Hamlin.
Well, there's the graphic right there. That tells you everybody how they pitted. All the other lead lap cars from Denny Hamlin down just this last caution on 308.
And I'm not sure, you know, Steve Letarte said that they didn't come to run 10th, but when everybody else has tires, you don't.
4 wide in turn 2, and Hamlin's the one way up top. Oh, did that get sorted out?
I think Denny Hamlin knows that the clock is ticking, that we only have 83 laps to go in this thing.
He's got Kyle Busch behind him. And Darrell, it's an old weekly racers trick on the short tracks. If everybody wants to run the bottom, set your car up to run the top if you plan on passing them all. That's what Kyle Busch and his team have done.
You know, Larry, if I remember right, that 99 and 26 running second and third, weren't they turning around backwards down here in the grass earlier?
They were. The 99 car, though, stayed on the lead lap. The 26 car got the free pass. They pitted on lap 297, 298, and Kristen, now they're in the top 5.
That's right, Larry. They're actually having trouble down here in their pits. They're having trouble getting the lug nuts to stick on the tires. The crew is down here thrashing, trying to get the lug nuts to stick to the tires. They've had to stay out on that last stop. They've been working with the 17 team to try to get these tires ready.
And I'm a son of a gun. That's what beat them at Texas. That's the problems they had on pit road about a month ago at the Texas race.
That weather stripping cement needs to hold. Oh, a lot of smoke out of Jeff Burton, the back of his car.
Yeah, 83 car again of Vickers is smoking the tires getting in the corner. And that time, Burton smoked his up real good getting in the corner.
But you know, talking about that 31 car, Jeff Burton, remember, about 100 laps ago, he was up against the outside retaining wall through a lot of work, a lot of pit strategy. He's up there in 8th in the top 10.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about this car. I shouldn't even say beautiful, but anyway, one of the neat things about this car is you can do a lot of beating and banging with it, bounce it off the wall, and it seems to just keep on going.
You know, honestly, guys, I think the best friends that Jeff Gordon has is those 3 cars behind him that stayed out that caution and kept him and Denny Hamlin separated by that much.
Well, Larry, we've seen, though, if this goes green very long, and when you look at the rest of the field back here all wadded up, that's being pretty optimistic. But if this goes green very long, those tires on his car will start to give up, and the guys that got 4 will start to come forward.
There are 6, now 5 cars between Hamlin and the leader. He just passed the lap car of A.J. Allmendinger. In front of him, Sam Hornish makes a move to the inside.
How about Hornish?
Sorensen.
Hornish sitting there running 4th.
Yeah.
What a great night. I mean, you know, it's just he had a great run at Phoenix, and here he is just, oh, man, here we go. Got
5 cars in the wall, turn 3.
Bunch of cars wrecked. The 12, the 48, the 9.
David Stremme in the 12. He's been a lead lap car all night long. Now he is the Starship Enterprise is a mess.
And no power.
No power, Scotty. No power.
Damn it, Jim. I'm an engineer, not
Power.
an engine builder. Whatever.
The right rear tire.
All right, what happens to Captain Kirk here?
Ooh. Lots of things.
Bob Labonte, the 96 car, you see just nowhere for the 48 Jimmy Johnson to go.
Multiple issues.
From Casey Kane.
Whoops.
Oh, it's been a hard night for Casey Kane. And from Jeff Burton, here they come.
You know, it's been a tough night for Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car.
I think that the 31 is going to survive this okay. There goes Tony slipping by on the inside. Tony Stewart in the 14 got by okay.
You know, we talked about Kane's trouble. He's been fighting that car loose off the corner all night long under an earlier caution. A lot of frustration.
I think nothing they've done to that car has made it better.
He is not very happy. He's kind of annoyed at the whole day.
Yep, that was coming onto pit road back at lap 308.
Speaking of pit roads, there's some decisions to be made here, especially when I look up there at that 24 car of Jeff Gordon. But right now, pit road is closed because of the safety trucks at the entrance of pit road.
Wow. 73 laps to go.
That's about all I can say is wow.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by UPS. Watch David Reagan compete with the delivery drivers of UPS in Maximum Driver. Go to racing.ups.com.
It's a new Darlington.
This place is fast. The lady in black, too tough to tame, fast, fast, fast.
I mean, I've heard insanely fast.
This is what this track is all about.
This right here is classic Darlington.
That was Kyle Busch last year. He's currently running 6th. Jeff Gordon is your leader now. He does have a couple of Richmond wins. What about Carl Edwards coming off that crazy finish at Talladega? Has not led tonight. Look at that move. Wonder if he had a flashback for a moment. Running 16th at the time. Spun out. Jamie McMurray involved, as you see. Everybody was okay. Edwards has worked his way back into 2nd. Meanwhile, the hot tempers Jeff Hammond has talked about all night. Dale Earnhardt Jr. later apologizing to Jeff Burton. And watch the 77 Sam Hornish Jr., who's currently running 4th, involved here. And Kevin Harvick, the downward spiral continuing as he goes into the wall. And here it's Mark Martin in the 5 car. And as everybody weaves past him, you can see Martin Truex Jr. has trouble stopping right there. We mentioned Carl Edwards. Let's check in with his crew chief, Chris Pavone.
Thanks, Chris. That's right up here on the pit box with Bob Osborne. Bob, tell me a little bit about the strategy. Your team is down there thrashing, trying to get lug nuts to stick on the tires. Are you staying out because of that, or is this your strategy?
This is the strategy right now. We've had to pit a few extra times because of some altercations on the racetrack and then losing a lap and getting it back. So we're a little bit farther ahead on sets of tires than everybody else, and that's putting us in a tough situation with the glue drying on the wheels. So initially, yeah, that was it, but now it's a thing to do, I believe, and I think that's what'll get us to the end.
All right, thanks, Bob. Chris?
I just got word Jimmy Johnson has won 3 of the last 4 Richmond races. The 48 car in the garage. Jeff Hammond with inside of, 67 laps to go here. You're seeing an offensive and defensive race, being an old football player. Explain that.
Well, what I'm seeing right now, we heard about Steve Letarte. They know their car's not that good back in traffic, so they're trying to stay out front and be kind of like defensive because they got guys like Carl Edwards and Sam Hornish between them. And I think the fastest car on the racetrack, 11 car of Denny Hamlin. He's definitely on the offense. He's trying to charge to get back up to the front, and either they're hoping they can keep these cars between him, buy them some more time, and possibly either pull off a win or definitely a top 5 finish.
Does it help at all that Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, 5 and 6, they're teammates anywhere in here?
Absolutely not. I mean, when it comes to pushing and shoving, I guarantee you right now, there's no love lost between these guys, and the closer we get to the end, the more we're going to probably see it.
All right, and under our 13th caution, Mike, we're within 2 of tying the track record for cautions, 15 in a Richmond race.
That happened in May of 2003. Thanks, Chris. Darrell, the last 5 caution flags have all come after 10 or less laps of green flag racing, and that looks like it's playing right into Jeff Gordon's strategy.
Well, it is, and you saw Steve Letarte stand there laughing. I think he's pretty happy with his decision to keep his car up front. I think that he's probably feeling pretty good about himself right now. All these lap cars is what's causing the problem. You got to try to race, and you got to race around them as well.
Larry, it's pretty bold strategy. If somebody gets to him and alongside him, that could end his chance to win.
But the thing about it, these tires are really cooling down right now, and that's going to help those tires. And now, Mike, with 66 laps to go and 24 cars on the lead lap, right or wrong, the bet is made. You've got to lay in it now.
Elliott Sadler got the free pass. He gets back on the lead lap here at caution flag number 13. We're ready to go racing once again. It'll be 65 laps to go. Jeff Gordon leads him down to the green. Carl Edwards, Jamie Mack.
I don't think Jeff got a very good restart. I think he may have spun the tires a little bit there.
But he just squeezed back down in front of that 99 car to hold the lead. Gets a good run off turn 2, trying to clear the 44 car of Allmendinger, a lap down car.
Oh, Allmendinger. Man, he carried it in there. Locked up the tires. I thought he was going to get into Jeff Gordon, but he stayed off of him.
Yeah, what Jeff Gordon is wanting to hear so bad is clear. That means he's cleared that lap car. We may hear it getting down into turn 3. Look at Carl Edwards now. He's going to work that high side in the 99.
Well, I tell you, the guy that loves this right here is the outside, is that 18 car. He's back here. He's coming up into the act. He's trying to get around his teammate Denny Hamlin there. There they go right there.
Plenty of lap traffic in and amongst the leaders. Leaders in the high lane.
Boy, that 44 car of Allmendinger, he is not going to give up.
And he has a lot fresher tires than the 24 car, trying to get back on the lead lap. He's only 1 down.
Now Edwards is going to try the bottom with Allmendinger.
Yeah, if Allmendinger opens, but boy, Allmendinger had to jump out of the throttle, so Gordon will clear him now. Now Edwards has got to deal with the 44 car.
I think once the 44 got passed by Jeff Gordon, he'll be a little more courteous now, hoping to get the lucky dog.
Kyle Busch has caught Jamie Mack, so is Hamlin, side by side behind this battle. And Busch completes the pass on Hamlin. That moves him up to 4th.
Boy, you just have every lap right now from here on out with 60 to go. Every lap's like a qualifying lap for everybody.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon has a lot of cars between him and Kyle Busch in the 18. Of course, Kyle has a lot fresher tires. 3 of them are lap cars, including Allmendinger.
How about Jeff Burton back in the top 10? And Kurt Busch coming back to the front. He's in 6th place. Wasn't that long ago that Burton, driving this Prilosec car, was up and in the fence.
Yeah, I think that the 2 car of Busch, I think they got it off on adjustments. It looks like they've got it back.
But will they have enough laps? 58 laps to go next time. There he sees about 2.5 seconds behind leader Jeff Gordon.
Right now, Jeff Gordon, he can sort of pace himself. He's got nobody bothering him, nobody racing him right now. He doesn't have to go 100%. Save just a little bit when some of these other cars get to him.
Here comes Kyle Busch looking for racing room against McMurray's 26. They're both going to have to clear the 2 Petty cars probably before Busch can try and make a pass for 3rd.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. Our concern for Jeff Gordon was the 11 car. I think it's that 18 car now if he ever gets by these guys.
If he can get by the 44 here, Allmendinger, and the 26 of McMurray, I think he can do some business.
Now McMurray is the 3rd place car, while Allmendinger's 44 is 1 lap down.
And it's good to see Jamie McMurray having a good run, because we've talked about the bad luck of Ryan Newman, the bad luck of Mark Martin. Jamie McMurray has had some tough luck. Good runs, but bad luck.
Yeah, it's like Jamie said, we've had a lot better car than we have finishes. Hopefully he can bring this thing home tonight, get him a good finish.
He was the fastest Ford in practice. Oh, Bobby Labonte goes for a big ride past the start-finish line, and caution will come out for the 14th time tonight.
Get her rolling. You're okay with the leaders. You're okay with the leaders. Flat right front, I believe.
It's going to be good news for Vickers because he's going to get the lucky dog.
Let's set tires on it real quick.
And this also plays to the benefit of Jeff Gordon.
Yes and no. It brings that 18 car a little bit closer.
Labonte goes around off the bumper of Kurt Busch.
Yeah, I don't think these lead lap cars are going to be very patient with these lap down cars right now.
I don't know. Maybe
he
Busch
may have got loose before Kurt got
to him. Just spun out. Yeah, it's easy to do off turn 4. Let's say, I believe that maybe just stepped out on him.
We've seen that with several cars tonight.
You know, the vise just keeps turning a little tighter. We're getting close to 50 laps to go at Richmond.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing is sponsored by Subway. $1 foot-long sidekicks are here. 21-ounce drinks at tasty sides, just $1 each. By Lipitor. By Sprint, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, it'll change the way you experience the race. And by State Farm, where great coverage meets great rates.
Ready for the restart. Kyle Busch going to try on the outside. That's been his patented move. And there he goes against Carl Edwards for second. There's 4 wide into the corner.
There's no question what he was going to do. The question is, how far up here can he get? Is he going to run
and now
out?
He's going to try to get to the high side of Gordon down the back straightaway. Gordon's trying to fight that lap down car of Sorensen.
That's a patent move. He's done that 2 nights in a row here.
Inside of Gordon. Can he make it?
He's after him, baby.
And the thing about it, he did it to Carl Edwards last night in the Nationwide race and just did it on that restart right there to Carl Edwards.
Oh, easy there. Almost got into the 24 off of 2 over there. Got to be a little more patient. Go the outside this time. Outside. Here he comes. He got him this time.
Jeff Gordon leaves enough room.
Right here, left.
And Kyle Busch takes it hard into turn 1, looking for the lead.
That car, that 18 car, just can run that outside better than anything here tonight.
All right.
And that has really been his to his advantage.
Now, right behind Jeff Gordon, we got the battle between the two Roush Fenway cars. McMurray in the 26 on the outside, Edwards in the 99 on the inside.
I think that the 11 car was stuck back in here. He can only run the bottom, and so he's going to have a hard time getting up there after his teammate.
McMurray, he's going to clear Carl Edwards getting down into turn 3. Edwards is going to try to fight back, but I believe McMurray will take that third spot away.
And we got the 44 is still hanging there hard, trying to get that lucky dog if he should get another caution.
You know, Jamie McMurray, through his foundation, purchased 400 tickets to this race and distributed them to active duty servicemen to come and enjoy the show here tonight, and he is giving them quite a show.
Yes, he is, and now his car washes up the racetrack. Edwards just will not go away, and there's Allmendinger like he talked about, Darrell.
Now the 9 car, Casey Kane. Whoa, Casey. Whoa. That's what I'm saying.
But what that battle is for, even with all the problems Casey's had, he's still only 1 lap down. He's trying to get in front of his teammate, Allmendinger, where he can get the free pass should the caution come out.
Right.
What do you mean if?
Very optimistic.
Right.
When the caution comes out.
Okay.
Oh, got it. There we go. Got one around.
And it's Rudeman.
Rudeman just spun out down here. I don't know. It looked like all by himself.
Let it roll down there. All right, get it running, drive off.
He's still on the lead lap. That will be caution number 15.
And which of the Richard Petty cars will get back on the lead lap from this caution?
It should be the 44, I believe.
Yep, it's Allmendinger.
Yeah.
And also Reed Sorensen in the 43 because he was out in front of the leader when the caution came out. So 2 of them get back on the lead lap. And I'm sure they're glad to get rid of Allmendinger.
I guarantee you, he was making me nervous.
There's Rudeman with Vickers on the inside.
It's right here. It's like he and Vickers. Vickers been locking that left front up all night long. You see him get loose, and that's so classic of Richmond. You go in the corner a little hard underneath somebody, lock up the brakes a little bit, and bump into the guy on the outside. Saw Dale Jr. in the 31 car do that.
Earlier we told you Jimmy Johnson had gone to the garage. He is back on track, but he lost 30 laps making repairs to that car, and he's back in 36th spot. But you will see him on the racetrack as Rudeman goes around.
We do need to mention also Mike Bliss, who had a great qualifying run, qualified 6th. He's back out on the racetrack after major repair.
And the hits just keep on coming. We've tied the record for caution flags at Richmond. Here's tonight's monster moment presented by NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Denny Hamlin's led the most laps tonight for the 2nd spring Richmond race in a row. But this miscue on the right front on the pit stop 3 times to get that lug nut to hit and stay on. That has sent Hamlin out of the lead and back to 5th place. Stay tuned to NASCAR 7 days a week with in-car audio, live race radio stats, and more with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Visit sprint.com/speed to find out more. 40 laps to go. Kyle Busch out front, where he was on the final restart last night, trying to become the 3rd driver to pull off the weekend sweep at Richmond. Harry Gant did it 1991, Kevin Harvick in 2006.
He won Thursday night over at Southside. He won last night, leading tonight. Whoa, man, and Jeff Gordon jacked him up there.
Yeah, he did not get a good restart at all. He actually spun the rear tires just for a moment. Tell you what, I believe Jeff Gordon's going to have his hands full of Jamie McMurray in that 26 car. Jamie with a little fresher tires. I think now the 24 may start paying the price for the number of laps he has on his tires.
I think those tires were happy when they were in the front. Not so happy now.
Carl Edwards is 4th and Denny Hamlin 5th. Hamlin battling Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch for 5th.
And in the 24 car, it'll be like you flipped the switch. You'll be right there running good, and all of a sudden you'll just start going backwards.
I'm going to tell you what, Casey Kane in that 9 car, who has just had a terrible night, he actually gets back on the lead lap the hard way. He drives by leader Kyle Busch.
3 wide and 3. Edwards on the bottom, Newman in the middle, and Hamlin up top. And they sort it out.
I mean, that's all a battle for position, all 6 of those cars right there.
Hamlin has got to go to the outside if he wants to pass these people. He's been running the bottom. He's going to have to get out there if he's going to go.
Newman gets away a little bit. That's Burton in the 31 and Hamlin on the outside. What a log jam here in turn 4.
And again, these are all lead lap cars.
3 wide at start finish. Edwards stuck in the middle and pays the price. Squirts backwards. Stewart coming. He's part of this battle for position.
Boy, Stewart, he just shot out of the bottom of turn 2. Boy, 14.
They wreck. Every time they go into turn 1, there's a wreck. They just sometimes make it and sometimes don't, but there's smoke, cars hitting each other.
They started that wreck, they just didn't finish it.
When it was all said and done, when all that kind of jumbled out, Ryan Newman, he's up in the 4th spot, Burton to the top 5.
This is 7th through 13th right in this pack.
Burton, top 5. Backed up in the fence about 50 laps ago.
Not long ago at all. Now he's battling Ryan Newman in the 39 for 4th.
I think he's mad. You know, he made up 3 laps last week at Talladega. He can make up a few spots here tonight. And we know he's got a fast car because he qualified really good this weekend.
Yeah, qualified in the 5th position.
Well, all this is helping Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon stay out in front of this field. Jamie McMurray still in lap traffic, the 3rd place car.
Now Kyle got back by Casey Kane in the 9, but Casey's content right there because he would get the free pass should we get a caution.
Jeff Burton going for 3rd against McMurray.
That old car's hooked up, boys.
Well, the biggest thing Jeff Burton has going for him, he has about 50 laps fresher tires than these cars he's racing right now. Even the 26 car of McMurray, as well as Tony Stewart. So I think all these cars that were staying out, now they're paying the price for it.
Attaway, bud, attaway. Next 2 are lappers.
Tony Stewart coming up as well, right behind Burton.
30 to go.
Every time I look at that 14 car, I think everybody was wondering, why would Tony Stewart leave an operation that he won 2 championships in 33 races? Well, I think he's proven now that he has made a great move, sitting in the top 5 in points, sitting in the top 5 here tonight.
He didn't hire a bad second driver either.
No.
Everything he did, all the people he hired, everything he's done, I mean, was perfect. You couldn't have done it any better.
Seventh, 8th, and 9th. Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Mark Martin, who also came back from a spin.
Exactly. He was turned around down in turn 2.
And Montoya in the 42 right in the thick of this.
Darrell, I think that 11 car they have gotten off. He's going to lose a spot to Mark Martin in the 5 car, but like you say, he won't come off the bottom.
No, he's got to run the bottom. If he doesn't work there, it just doesn't work for him. I tell you, the wind just came out of their sails when they had trouble in the pits. He has not really recovered from that mistake.
The race leader underneath David Rudiman to lap past him.
That worked out pretty good. Rudiman gave him a lot of room, didn't hold him up.
11 to go. Tony Stewart trying to run him down, and Jeff Burton not letting Stewart get away. Matt?
Mike, the Army's riding with both Stewart-Haas cars tonight. On Thursday night, a young man, a corporal named Bronson Anderson, had 2 tour of duties in Afghanistan, walked up to Tony Stewart at Denny Hamlin's function and gave him his dog tags when he was in the service. Said he felt like they kept him safe, brought him good luck. He wanted to pass that on to Stewart for all he and Ryan Newman had done for the military. Stewart took him back to the racetrack. His team taped them to the dash, riding along on the 14 tonight.
Well, it's riding right now with still a battle for second place with Jeff Burton in that 31 car.
He's going to need some of Jeff Burton's sponsor if he doesn't watch out here.
9 to go. And the gap is stabilized at 2.8 seconds.
Yeah, what's happened is the 14 and the 31 are now racing each other. That's just playing right into Kyle Busch's hands. He can kind of coast from here. I thought they were going to be able to chase him down, but now they're racing each other.
With 8 laps to go, Kyle Busch has pretty clean racetrack in front of him. And this is really all battle for position right here, battle for 6th.
I really think if a caution did come out, Larry, I think the 31 and the 14 have used up their tires.
Probably got the goodie out of him.
Trying to chase him down, and now they're racing each other just for second place.
Jeff Gordon falls to 7th. Sam Hornish coming up for 6th. Looks like Roger Penske may put 2 cars in the top 10 here.
What a great run for Sam. That's really impressive. Had a great run at Phoenix, and here we are, another great run here at the Richmond.
Well, remember, he's had great success here in IndyCar, 2 wins.
And a good turnaround. I mean, McMurray sitting sideways down here in the racetrack a couple of 100 laps ago. And like Larry pointed out, the 07 mirrors, but the other guy that's had an incredible turn, hung in there and done well, is Marcos Ambrose. He was backed up in the fence. Like tonight, if you hit the fence, it really paid off for you.
Yeah. 19th place at stake here. Clint Boyer, the winner here last fall, out ahead of rookie Joey Logano.
Yeah, it's like Clint and that group. They just got off with their race car about halfway through this event. 5 to go.
8th place, McMurray, Gordon.
Boy, Jeff is just, man, he's tippy-toeing around here right now. He's just trying to do all he can to keep his car straight up off the corner.
Right now, he's just hoping to come out of here with a top 10 finish.
Kyle Busch with a 2.9 second lead over Tony Stewart. Stewart has driven away from Jeff Burton, but there's just not time left to catch Kyle Busch, who is going to become only the 2nd driver in NASCAR history to blow out a birthday cake candle in victory lane.
And he's undefeated this weekend.
And you know the amazing thing about it, he turns 24 today. 8 years ago, roughly, he came here and ran in a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at the age of 16. He finished 22nd that day. It wasn't long after that, NASCAR raised the age limit to 18 years old to race in Sprint Cup, trucks, or nationwide.
What I like about it, I've seen him every night, every race, he always has a little left in the tank. And I don't know how he does it. He raced Thursday night, Friday night, and tonight, and he's still going strong.
And if they hadn't canceled Nashville tomorrow, he was going to go over there and race.
Nashville tomorrow in a CRA race.
He's won 14 races before the age of 24. And here comes our active ticker on top of the screen with coming to 1 to go.
All right, man, here it is.
White flag.
Flag. Never thought I'd hear you say such a sweet thing.
Yeah, he did not want to hear yellow flag.
Happy birthday.
I'll say just bring her on home. Got to go round 3 and 4 here. Don't ever count you. All you chickens.
Oh, man. Addington, what a call, buddy.
Light the candles and cut the cake. Kyle Busch joins Cale Yarborough as NASCAR's only Sprint Cup winners on their birthday.
Yeah, baby. Cut the cheese and pour the wine. Yippee!
Good times, Mr. Busch.
There's Steve Addington, crew chief.
What a team. Addington, Busch, Joe Gibbs, JD. Sweet, man.
That is Kyle Busch's 50th career win in NASCAR's top 3 divisions, his 8th of 2009.
Easy now, easy there, big boy.
And oh, by the way, add another racetrack that he has not won a Sprint Cup Series win at. This is his first win here at Richmond in the Sprint Cup.
I've got to take notes here because I got to do this in a couple of weeks.
Oh, burnouts on speed at the All-Star.
Let's see how you did. Did you see that way you threw that in there? I think I'd have probably been out of here.
It is Kyle's 2nd weekend sweep. He did it last year at Chicagoland. And it's his 3rd Sprint Cup win in 2009.
All right, there's the burnout. Now I think we'll get the bow, and he'll probably hold up 3 fingers, symbolic of his 3rd win of the year.
Krista, where's that cupcake with a candle? We're going to need it.
I ate it.
I wonder if now he'll tell you what his wish was.
Yeah, baby.
Now we'll get the flag.
Oh, man, he's having a big time. It's my birthday. It's my birthday, Shorty.
I'm going to tell you what, there's not a more exuberant guy when he wins a race than Kyle Busch.
There's nobody that loves winning. There's nobody that hates losing more than he does.
I think the more they boo him, the more it drives him.
I wonder what his wish was. Maybe we'll find out in Victory Lane after this.
You guys are awesome. May 2nd, baby. Woo! Thank you. Birthday, dude. That was awesome. Guys, awesome job, everybody on this race team.
NASCAR's newest bad boy, real good, Kyle Busch, as we welcome you to the Lipitor post-race show, and his combo of victories keep on coming. First three-time winner in Sprint Cup racing this season. Our Dick Berggren is down there celebrating with him. Dick?
And it is a wonderful celebration down here in Victory Lane. Whoa! I don't think the crew knew he was going to do that, but they caught him anyway. Happy birthday. Hey, 3 different races this week. You win them all, 2 different times of track, 3 different kinds of cars. How do you do this week after week?
Man, this is a phenomenal team right here. They never give up. You know, we've had 4 bad weeks, and we knew we had to get back on track somehow. Really want to thank Combos, M&M's, Interstate, Toyota. Thank the fans for coming out tonight. It's my birthday. I know they're all supporting me on May 2nd for my birthday tonight, and we pulled out a win for them. So, you know, thank Marquee Jets, DirecTV, Gillette, of course, Sprint for being here. So it's an awesome night, man. This is so exciting for me. I know this is another big win this year. I hope the team enjoys it as well as much as I do. And thank Nos again, and it's just amazing, man. This is so cool.
But so many different teams, and you win with all of them. How come?
I don't know. You got to give feedback, and I just keep telling the guys what's wrong with it. This car wasn't perfect all night. It was good, but it wasn't perfect. And I knew that when we had practice. You know, I kept telling Steve, I'm like, man, it doesn't feel bad. It's not perfect, but we just can't get this much more out of it, you know. And so we made the right. Steve made the right call there on when to pit, when to take 4 tires versus 2 tires or no tires or whatever. And man, it really paid off for us there at the end to be able to have that long run like that and not have to deal with the 14 or the 31. I knew they were coming.
Congratulations, birthday boy. Matt Yoakum.
A great night for Tony Stewart, the driver. Impressive night for Tony Stewart, the owner. 2 cars, 2nd and 4th. And you had a little ride-along friend, Bronson Anderson, his dog tags, the young man you met on Thursday night. Great night all around. What will stand out for you the most about this run tonight?
Well, I mean, I'm really proud of our guys. They had awesome pit stops, but I think we backed into this one today. We got lucky and got a chance to get tires there with about 50 to go, and you know, got that green flag run at the end that typically we don't get. So that helped us. We had a lot less laps on our tires than those guys, but really proud. I mean, we think we know what we missed tonight. I mean, we weren't really stout, but I mean, I'm so proud of the organization. Ryan was really good tonight all night. So. I'm glad he came up. That's the best we finished there as a team, so I'm really proud of everybody, and this is for everybody at Stewart-Haas. So really proud of everybody on the Old Spice Office Depot team and for the U.S. Army. It's just an awesome night for us tonight, and our man Bronson there, he's got us into a runner-up finish, so we'll take it.
Tony Stewart, 2nd here in Richmond.
Thanks, Matt. Teammate Ryan Newman, his 2nd straight top 5 finish with Stewart-Haas finishing 4th. But heartbreak for Hamlin, the local kid. Denny again leads the most laps, but in victory lane, Kyle Busch, who in his previous 4 races, Mike, was 17th or worse, but turned it around and took the checkered flag tonight.
It was a big birthday turnaround for Kyle Busch, but how about Jeff Burton? Wrecked that car, ended up in the top 3. Montoya involved in a crash, up there right in the top 10. Marcus Ambrose backed it in the wall, finished 11th. What's going on here?
I don't know, Mike, but I just want to say this. I saw Dale Earnhardt win a lot. I saw Jeff Gordon win a lot. I have never seen anybody that can win the races the way this kid does. I am so glad I'm still in this sport to be able to say that I saw Kyle Busch when he was at his best, and I think he's got a lot more winning to do he's going to set a lot of records, I can tell you.
A great night for race strategy, Larry, because we saw it all over the map over those last 120 laps.
Well, and it all started back on lap 378, 379, or 278, 279, when Steve Letarte decided to leave that 24 car out there. Then you had the 26 and the 99. They came to pit road just shortly after that. Then they started staying out. But I just think eventually, even with all those cautions, finally it caught up with them. And I know, Mike, we talked about the guys at the front. You mentioned some of the guys, but two guys that needed a good run tonight. Jamie McMurray, we talked to him yesterday. His confidence was down. He gets a top 10 run. And in Casey Mears, after the swap at Richard Childress Racing, he was a lap down in 1 point. He comes home with a top 10. And hey, Sam Hornish, now he career best is up again. And in case you watched the Vegas race when Kyle Busch won the first time in 2009, good night, Gracie.
That's what he said, or his spotter said when he took the lead for the last time. Kyle Busch becomes the youngest driver in the history of what's now the Sprint Cup Series to have won 15 races. And I think, Chris, he's just getting started.
Yeah, of course, he won at Darlington, and we'll see him there next Saturday night. So Jeff Gordon goes back in front of Kurt Busch as we check the points. Jeff Hammond on a rough race again for Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards, but they hang in there in the top 10.
Yeah, but the main thing right now, look at Tony Stewart. He's up there in that third position right there. He gets stronger each and every week. And, you know, you just can't say enough about what's going on. Again, you know, with Kyle Busch, he puts himself in a position right now to, you know, be more of a factor in this chase as we go further in the season.
So David Ruderman slips out of the top 12, currently 13th, as Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing successful Steve Addington. That's a good combo right there with the experience of a Super Bowl winning head coach and a hot young driver like Kyle Busch. But let's go back to Ryan Newman, who moved up 3 spots, 10th into the top 10 in points. And we'll check in now with Krista. Krista?
Well, Ryan Newman has his climbing shoes on. You guys are moving up, but I want to know, does the optimist say, all right, another top 5, or does the competitor say, man, close to that win?
I told the guys what I meant, and that was we keep doing this, we'll get what we want. And it was a great run for the U.S. Army Chevrolet. Tony had a great run too. You know, we had the leader strategy. We just got caught up when I turned the 5 car around there on that restart. We lost 4 spots, and those are the 4 spots we needed to get back to the front.
3 short tracks, 3 top 10s. This one's a top 5.
Well, Jeff Burton, it wasn't pretty at times early, but you guys really battled tonight to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, great call by Scott there. You know, Junior and I got together, and after that, my car took off. So I don't know, we got in a wall, and I don't know why, but it made it better. So real proud of everybody. Proud of Segwa's on the car tonight. Thanks to them, and thanks for all the Cats' involvement. This is you know, this team just fights really hard, and that's who we are right there. It's just get down and never quit and keep fighting, and I'm real proud to be part of this team.
All right, good job. Thank you.
So Jeff Burton tying his best finish so far this season as Kyle Busch on his 24th birthday celebrates in Victory Lane here in Richmond. More to come. NASCAR on Fox in just a moment.